Hello, Ryan.
Hello.
We've
Bonjour.
already been talking for like 10 minutes, but hello again. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
How long ago was that we talked on your podcast? That was what, a couple years ago, right? Like 2 years ago or something? Probably
No, that
longer.
that was actually. It feels like it was 2 years ago, but it was 2014, the summer of 2014.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But not very long ago, but
That's kind of a long time ago.
yeah,
It's scary how time, oh my gosh, that's scary. I would have literally guessed 2 years ago. And even that felt long to me. Wow. That's
yeah,
crazy. So we decided we were gonna uh, do makeup tonight
yes.
because we're goofballs.
Well, I can't compete with yours, but
Well, yeah,
I
whatever.
tried. But like the whole quarantine thing, like I'm like I'm looking like the crypt keeper over here these days. Like
I
I
feel
don't get
you.
out in the sun. Like I'm not working, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna just embrace it. I'm just gonna look like the little death that I feel like.
I know. I was talking to Mike earlier, and I'm like, when I do my makeup crazy like that, I'm not trying to be goth. And he's like, well, I guarantee people think you are. And I'm like, really? To me, I just think I'm like slapping black makeup on my like I'm not trying to do anything other than just like paint my face or something, and there's no skill involved in it at all. Like it's laughable. I smear my hands and stuff and smear it on my face. Like there's no skill involved in any of it. So I can't imagine that anybody would think like, oh, you're goth or whatever. I'm like, no, I don't know what the hell I am. I really don't. I like everything and I like
Exactly.
nothing. I like everything and I don't like anything. So it's kind of whatever, whatever you want to call that.
It's being artistic. It's
Yeah.
like the
I
old
like
and
spooky stuff.
yeah, and like the the 70s scene in England, the punk scene, like it was like heavy, dramatic black makeup,
Yeah.
like the heavy colors. Like I love that stuff. It doesn't have to be this or that. We're just being creative and having fun.
Yeah. And like I mean, you look at like even along those lines, you look at those old movies and stuff, and they had an aesthetic to it. And to me, it's more of an aesthetic that it's a scene or a genre or whatever. It's kind of I don't know, like if you watch those old black and white Dark Shadows episodes,
Yeah,
a lot of times because of the black and white, they look like they've got hollow eyes, and to me that's an aesthetic, but
hmm
whatever. I guess some people call that goth. I mean, it is, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know why people have to label everything, is what I'm saying,
exactly.
basically. Just is what it is. You like what you like. Some days I look like this. Some days I look like a slob. I mean, I look a slob every day, but some days I look slobbier than other days. Or some days I have pink on. It's just whatever. Who cares?
Should be able to. Yeah, exactly. That's the flavor of life, right? Like I don't like sticking to one thing. And
Yeah, that's boring.
I might be looking like this one day, and again, the next day I'll be wearing like a pinstripe suit. And
Sure. Yeah, because you're like into jazz and stuff too, correct?
yes, yeah, very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So yeah, we're all well rounded. I like sports. I like, I like a little bit of everything.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. A lot of people don't.
So,
A lot of people don't think that, but
yeah.
it's funny. They're like, no way, dude, that you're, and I'm sitting there watching the Saints like just getting crazy, like,
Yeah.
ah, you know,
I kind of quit watching football because it makes me so angry. Like
yep,
it's too much. Like I feel I would rather miss a great game and hear about it after the fact than sit through a bad game. And I know that sounds very fair weather fan ish, but it's just like it's too frustrating to me. It's like you get your hopes up in this team, and and then everybody gets let down every year except for one team.
yep,
And then that your team's supposed to be good, and like they have all the elements, and then they fail, and you're just like, it's just aggravating. I'd almost rather just know from like be a fan from afar and like so that it doesn't hurt me when they suck, but it's cool when they do well.
I know.
But I guess that's a
I get
being a fair weather fan. I don't know.
I get too emotionally involved. I'm the same way. I should just be
Yeah,
like,
it's hard.
I should just watch the updates tomorrow.
Yeah, like a few years ago when the Cardinals were in the Super Bowl and like we were so close to winning. We were so close. And I said to Mike, I go, we can't celebrate. We can't celebrate because we don't know what's going to happen. I remember the fumble in Cleveland, Ernest Biner fumbling that touchdown.
Yeah.
You just can't have hope. You can't. At least not where sports are concerned. Well, you know what? I shouldn't have hope in anything. That's just I mean, really.
Set the bar low, and then
Set
you'll
the
be
bar low. I
pleasantly surprised.
agree. I agree. And it's funny because I am a hopeful like I have sort of unrealistic probably expectations for like everything in life. Like I should be able to achieve this and this and it's all crazy stuff. But by the same token, I'm also like I can't do anything. Like everything sucks, nothing ever works. It's a it's a hard life to live. Like either settle on one or the other. Don't do the both thing. It's just too dramatic. What is my
Yeah.
child doing?
Well, as creators and stuff too, artists, that's we're our own biggest hindrance, right? We're our worst critics.
For sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
we get into something, we get way too emotionally involved in something. So yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, and it's funny because I can detach myself from certain things. I'm pretty good about detaching myself from music, and I think it's because I've been doing it since I was essentially a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's so part of my life at this point that I can compartmentalize it, I think. Maybe. But then other stuff I'm so wrapped with insecurity about. Like the whole writing thing, I'm so insecure about it and like cringe every time somebody I know reads my book or asks me questions about it. Like it drives me nuts. And I can't not I can't gain any confidence in that. And I don't know why that is, but
You're just humble. That's all.
it is what it is. I don't know. I think there's humble and then there's like self-destructive. I don't know. But anyways, who cares about me?
No,
What's going on with you? What do you want to talk about?
we could talk about that all day, man. I know
Yeah.
how that goes. Trust me. Like
Yeah, it's
I,
hard.
I'm my worst critic all day. Like I always say, there's nothing worse you can say about myself personally, myself musically, or whatever else I do that I haven't already said to myself. So like,
For
I
sure.
it's hard to pick yourself up out of that. And like that's been just kind of go adding on to that. Like with this with quarantine this past however long it's been now, can't even count anymore. Um, it's been also like this time that I've had to create, but it's also been like I've had to force myself sometimes to do something because I'm like I just like in this funk and like you just got to try to like get myself out of it. It's not like it's
Yeah.
like wow, I got all this time. I could sit here and I could paint. I could write. I could pick up a guitar. I could do something. And just sometimes it's just like this block of I just want to sit in Netflix and watch
Yes.
garbage.
Nothing. Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I mean, first of all, I already worked from home, so nothing has changed in that regard. But we don't go out anywhere on the weekends. We don't do anything. So I'm like, theoretically, I have all this time. I should be able to accomplish all this stuff. And I just don't have like I'll tell Mike, I'm like, I really want to write today, but I just don't feel like it. So I never really try to force it because if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. But yeah, it's aggravating. And
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh, I have all this time. I could exercise. I could do this. And like, yeah, I just like you. It's like you just kind of sit and stare at something. I think there's this weird depression that you don't even really always know is there. Like this subtle stress that you're not even aware of. Like some days I'll feel super sick and I'm like, what's wrong with me? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I am worried about something. Probably like work is stressful or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that would make sense. But Yeah, I
I
think we've all been dealing with that.
yeah, it's that other underlying guilt of I could be doing something more, but I just
Yes.
can't. I don't want to force it, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, it sucks because, like, you want to do XYZ, but you can't. It always reminds me there's this passage in the Bible where Paul talks about how he doesn't do the things he wants to do, but does the things he doesn't. And I'm like, that's literally the story of probably all of our lives. Like, you want to eat right, you want to exercise, you want to drink water, you want to, do all this stuff. And you're like, what am I doing? Sitting on the couch, eating chips, drinking a pop, watching
yeah,
TV. My mind wants to do other things though, but it doesn't count if you don't actually do it.
yeah. The intention's there, but
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's
So yesterday was April Fool's,
mhm.
and I know that you're a huge superhero fan like I am because we've talked about this a lot. Did you see all those nasty articles about the Snyderverse has been restored? Superman Henry Cavill inks two movie deal playing. I'm like, you don't toy with my emotions like that. Like I
I
saw
know.
it, and at first I was like, oh my god, and then I'm like, jerks. Don't
Yeah,
toy with me.
I
Yeah.
started I started seeing that a couple days ago on YouTube. I was like scrolling around, and because I don't watch a lot of like review critics, I don't really
Yeah, I
like
don't
critics,
either.
but specifically for the new movie that came out, I was going back because when the original theatrical cut came out of Justice League, a lot of
Mm.
people were trashing it, and then when this one came out, I was like, let me look up these guys just to see if they changed their ways.
Right.
But
Right.
through that anyway, I was like getting in my recommendations, like yeah, like Justice League 2 confirmed, the Snyder return. But this was like even a couple days before like April 1st. I'm like,
So
come on,
mean.
quit
I
pulling my
know, it's so
strings.
mean. And
Yeah,
there's all these rumors right now, and like you don't know if it's true or not. Like I saw that Henry Cavill is talking to like Dwayne Johnson about what they can do to like restore like him as Superman and get like Snyderverse back on. And apparently they have the same manager and they're really close friends. And I'm like, okay, if The Rock gets on, if this is true and The Rock gets on board with this, like they have to do it, right?
yeah.
He's like the biggest star in the freaking world, right?
I,
And I saw Joe Manganiello. He's now hashtagging restore the Snyderverse, so he's on board with it. And I saw another thing where they said, Ben Affleck said he was completely done with Batman, but then he comes back to film something that would lead into the second Justice League movie. Why would you do that if you were like all done with it? Like
mhm.
maybe he could be convinced to come back if the Snyder thing happens. Like it seems strange that like Henry was off, he was done with it, and then Ben left, and Cyborg left, and the Flash left, and then as soon as the Snyder thing came back, they're all back. So clearly, I would assume it was the whole Joss Whedon and like that bunch basically ran everybody off. And then once the hint that maybe Snyder's coming back, they're like, well, I'm on board with it if he's there. And even Ryan Reynolds said if they do the Justice League 2 in that dream world, he's in. He wants to play Green Lantern again. So I'm just like, please, please let this happen.
Yeah, that would be so awesome.
Oh,
There's a thing I was watching about Zack Snyder. He's been doing a lot of press lately for the Zack Snyder Justice League. I guess they don't want to call it the Snyder Cut anymore, but whatever.
right.
But
Whatever.
he was saying even though it's his cut, the Warner Brothers still had a hand on what he
Sure.
could put in and what he couldn't. So like, which it's just really weird, right? Like they're like, release your
Yeah.
vision, do your thing, but you can't do this because they're trying to keep things with like their
Right.
in their universe. And so
Right.
he's talking about that, but he said there was a whole part in Justice League with the Green Lantern,
I
and
know.
he didn't release who the actor was, but there's scenes in it, and he had to completely cut it. I wonder if that was like a Ryan Reynolds
No, it was supposed to be Jon Stewart. They said it was the Jon
Yeah.
Stewart Green Lantern. So, but I don't know who the actor was. I don't think they've said who that actor was, have they? I don't think they have.
No, he
But
wouldn't. He wouldn't say.
yeah, but you'd think somebody would say something, especially the actor. But I'm sure there's non-disclosure agreements. But yeah, so those scenes with Martian Manhunter at the end
Hmm.
were Jon Stewart, which I was so stoked to see Martian Manhunter because I'm like, first of all, there should be Martian Manhunter and GL anyways because hello, they're they're like main characters in the Justice League, like they need to be there. Um, I thought it was cool to see the Green Lantern in the older scenes from the original war with Darkseid.
Yeah,
That
the
was freaking
Amazon.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was cool. Yeah.
that was really neat. I was
Oh,
glad to.
and apparently there was also a scene in there that actually showed a dead Kilowog from the nightmare scene. I saw a still of that where Darkseid killed Kilowog. So dang,
Yeah,
I
there's
want to see this.
so much. I know. Like that was kind of like the epilogue just kind of like shows you like what could have been. You
I
know, like
know. I hope to God something I mean, it's so stupid. I'm like over here, please, please, please let this happen. I'm like, it's just a movie, chill out. But then I'm like, no, but I want it so bad. Like we got this Snyder cut and it was so good. And I want the whole vision. I want all of it.
yeah, me too. Like it's just, and the other thing too, like even if you're not into DC or superhero movies, whatever you want to say,
Yeah.
this is a really big monumental thing for a film director to all of a sudden be able to come back years later, you know,
Yes.
tragedy in his family and be able, because of the fans, be able to do this
I know.
4 hour epic thing. And I think that's like, that's so inspiring to, it's,
It is. And it's like finally an artist wins, even though the studio still had a hand in it, obviously, but it's like it felt like the artist won, which rarely happens, as we know.
yeah,
But it was so good. And then at the end, um, seeing like the dedication to his daughter and everything, and
yeah.
hearing that song and knowing that that song was her favorite song, and their friend sang it. That was touching, I think.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Tugged my heartstrings,
yeah,
and
yeah, I'm like choked up thinking about it because I can't even imagine going through something like that, and then I just can't even imagine the horror of what they went through. And
oh
then
yeah.
to have the movie basically be chopped, like him and his wife leave because of their tragedy, and then their movie gets chopped. And not only does the movie get chopped, but the director that takes over trashes him the entire time on set and talks crap about him the entire time on set, according to sources.
Yeah.
And then everybody hated the movie, and he's over here thinking, yes, but my movie was better. And I can't even imagine how frustrating that would be. And so to finally get it to come out, and I mean, I don't pay attention to people's opinions because I just don't like focusing on negative stuff.
Hmm.
So if you like it and you want to talk to me about it, I'm all in. But like, I don't want to talk about like why you don't like something that I like, just
Yeah.
because I feel there's no reason to do that. You're not going to
Yep.
convince me it sucks, and I'm not going to convince you it's good. So let's just not talk about it, kind of thing.
Hmm.
But so I don't know. I mean, I know some people probably thought it was dumb or whatever. That's fine. But I've only seen people talking about how much better it was and how great it was. So that has to feel good to him and the actors in the film, especially Ray Fisher, and actually, I can't think of his name. Oh my God. The guy that played Flash. What was
Oh,
his name?
Ezra.
Ezra. Yeah, Ezra Miller.
I can't remember his last name, but yeah,
Miller.
Ezra Miller.
I mean, their whole characters were cut out,
Yeah,
you
completely.
know? And so to see like their backstories and like get more of their personality, and they cut out a lot of the stupid crap that
Yep.
from the original one that was like out of character and
Well,
weird.
was so tonally different, and like
Yes.
I was like, because there's a scene in the original, like I was trying to go back and like watch the original, and um the original theatrical version, and
Mm-hmm.
there's some things they cut out in this version that felt like, okay, I knew that was never a Zach thing, because there's like
Yeah.
the Flash runs and he lands on Wonder Woman. There's some stupid thing about,
Yes.
oh, it's like all this
Yeah.
like sexist humor, like sexualizing Wonder Woman. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is
That never
ridiculous.
happens in the Justice League. She's
Yeah,
an absolute equal. Like they don't treat her like a girl in the Justice League. And none of it just other like you watch any of the cartoons or anything, she's not treated like a girl. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like so that is ridiculous. Yeah, and apparently that is a scene stolen straight from Winter Soldier where somebody lands on Black Widow in the exact same way.
Oh
And like
god.
it's a big ha ha, there's her boobies or whatever, or
But
whatever, you know.
that was definitely a Joss thing, because Joss did what, Avengers 2, I think, or
Yeah,
something.
I don't know, something.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, it's, yeah. I'm not trashing his movie either. I'm not going to
Right.
do, but like,
Right.
there's just such. It was such a thing of like, okay, going from BVS into that, I was so excited. Like,
Yes.
I figured, and then I know what happened, so I knew there's going to be changes. But it was just a weird thrown together thing. But yeah, this movie just fleshes out everything, and I always tell people like, just like if you were just remotely interested in that theatrical cut, like go watch this. I know it's
Mm-hmm.
4 hours, but I honestly thought I was going to have to wait and like watch it in parts. I
Yeah.
watched the whole thing twice. Like,
Yeah, we were stoked, man. We and you know, like what you said, like tonally, like Batman versus Superman was so like serious and dark, which is
mm-hmm.
what I like. I
Me too.
like that. I don't want a serious story to be funny. Like
Exactly.
unless you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But like that movie was so dark and I loved that about it. And then Justice League, they're like cracking jokes and like I'm like, really? The world's ending? Superman just died. You brought him back to life and he's a monster essentially. And you guys are cracking jokes. Like it doesn't feel genuine.
Yeah.
It was weird. And then another thing I thought was interesting is whole plot changes. Like
Mm-hmm.
that whole the whole scene the first time the Justice League fights Steppenwolf, completely different fight.
Yep.
You know, like they made Flash the theatrical cut. Flash was like a bumbling idiot, like terrified. Like, what do I do? What do I do? And they're like, just save one person. Like, it's okay, little boy, you'll be okay. And the Zack Snyder one, he wasn't like that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he was getting his footing and everything, but he wasn't like running around scared. And then at the end, spoiler alert, stop if you haven't seen the film yet. The way Steppenwolf gets killed was so badass. And in the theatrical version, the parademons turn on him because of his own fear and kill him.
So lame.
So stupid. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, let's not even get into the whole dark side thing that was freaking
Oh
mind
yeah.
blowing. I mean, oh my God, that was
I was so
so
excited about
freaking
that,
cool.
and like that just stepped, because you didn't know, like Steppenwolf all of a sudden just showed up in the theatrical. You're like, well,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the character, but I don't, as a movie watcher, like if I'm going to this kind of knowing sort of, like I try to look at it
Yeah.
as someone not knowing the character. I'm like, what is the motivation here? like,
Right.
why is any of this
Why
happening?
does he care? Yeah, why
It's
does he
so
care?
rushed. This version, of course, I mean, he had the time, but there was just so much more fleshed out in the dead side thing. And like, Steppenwolf isn't there to really he's there to pay off his debt essentially, because he's
Yeah, right.
damned.
He
And
wants to go home. Poor guy.
yeah, exactly. He just wants to go home. And his head goes home at the end, spoiler alert.
Yeah, it sure does.
But
Yeah.
that was the other thing too. And even the beginning is so much better, because it shows the whole Lex Luthor thing with the boxes, and like
Yes.
that's why you can watch BVS at the end when he's like freaking out in the jail cell. They're coming, and he's doing this.
Yes.
It doesn't show you
Yes.
the actual. So I'm like, oh, that's so great, like.
Oh my
And
gosh. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to
I'm
add,
super excited.
and there's like, and in this beginning, which is way much better in the Zack Snyder version, there's
Mhm.
no Henry Cavill stupid ass like CGI mustache out thing.
I'm like, how do you make someone who's like drop dead gorgeous ugly? You guys made Henry Cavill ugly. How is that even humanly possible?
They tried their hardest, I guess, but
Oh
man,
my gosh.
it looks so haunting. It haunted my
And
dream.
and yeah. And one of my favorite things was when Lex Luthor says the bell's been rung,
Mhm.
the god is dead. And then at the beginning of this version, you see Superman screaming, and that his voice is so powerful that it's like going out in
Yeah,
waves out into the universe. That was the ringing bell. I mean, that just gives me. I'm like such a nerd. That gives me goosebumps. But it was just so good. And then, I mean, everything about it, I just freaking loved. Another thing that I'm so glad, and clearly was not a Zach thing, was the whole thing when they're in Russia and Flash is like saving this family who are killing parademons with bug spray. I
oh yeah,
mean,
yeah.
what? Like what? That's why are you stupid? I don't even like why are you
Yeah,
stupid?
I again, I think that's
So dumb.
Warner Brothers was trying to figure out like what works with our franchise right now, because I mean, yet those movies like Man of Steel and BVS did well in the box office. There was still a lot of critics, so they were like, "Well, we got to be more fun like Marvel," and nothing against Marvel,
Yeah, right. You can
but
like all of it. I like all of it. It
yeah, me
doesn't
too.
have to be a competition. Yeah.
But if you just all of a sudden throw that into the gears out of nowhere, kind of
Right.
it's so confusing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's really weird. And you know, why would you try to take either I mean, obviously Marvel's not going to try to be like DC, but like why would you even want to do that?
yeah,
It's like you have your brand, they have their brand works for what they're doing. I mean, I don't know. I just me personally, I prefer like really dark serious stuff. Like the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. That
yeah.
to me is a perfect film. Like that is it's dark, it's moody, it's
Oh, it's
that thing stuck with me. Like you're just watching it like just waiting for him to snap the entire time.
yeah,
And then when he finally snaps, you're just like holy crap, you know?
it's
That's the
beautiful.
perfect movie to me. Like, so, and that's how I felt with like, but I mean, they're different movies, but that's how I felt with Batman versus Superman too. And everybody's like, yeah, but Superman's supposed to be this wholesome, all American, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but if you stop and think about it, he's an alien on this planet. He's never going to fit in. He can literally hear suffering 24 hours a day all around the entire planet, and he knows he can't save everybody. So imagine being that person who has the power to save people but can't do it because you can't be everywhere at once,
Yeah,
you know? And then you've got this asshole Batman questioning your motivations, right?
yeah,
And to me it was such a good movie. And did it have flaws in it? Sure, I guess. I mean, but I'm like not one of those people that really just pick stuff apart. Like I don't sit there and just look for flaws in things. I just accept it generally for what it
yeah.
is. And I even did that with the Justice League movie, the original release. I
Mhm.
didn't come home and like say, oh, I'm so disappointed in this and this and that and the other. I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't what I wanted, but it's
Yeah,
okay. It was all right. I feel the
yeah.
same way about the Aquaman movies. Like they don't give me what I want from them, but they're fine. It's entertaining. It's
It's
fine.
yeah, it's fun. Like I had fun
Yeah,
with the
exactly. And
Justice
same with
League.
like Shazam. I thought Shazam was a fun movie,
Yeah.
but I really like the really dark, gloomy, angsty Superman and angsty Batman. And,
Oh, me too.
I freaking love that. So,
Yeah. I just rewatched the Batman versus Superman deluxe edition on HBO Max, where I spend most of my time watching stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just rewatched it. And I remembered like how much I love. I mean, I saw that in the theaters, and that was another thing where I'm like, you know what? I'll defend this movie because as far as everybody I talked to hated that movie, but I'm like,
I don't get it.
yeah, I don't know either that people just weren't for a gritty movie like that. But I'm like, all these same people that told me this, and nothing against Marvel again. I do love Marvel, but well, you have these two superheroes like brooding against each other, and it's dark, and then I was like, well, you like Civil War, right? That's kind of the same concept.
Yeah.
But the same thing, they would be like, well, Batman doesn't use guns. I'm like, there's comic books with Batman uses guns.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to use that against him. It's like,
right.
But if you don't like it, you don't like it. I get it. It's a way darker take. Like Zack Snyder even said, like he treated these characters like for this vision, like they're like gods among men almost, like
right.
human beings. So like there's these problems that they have forcing with each other, so they're going to make mistakes, and there's going to be dark tendencies.
Of course. Yeah.
And I really like that vision.
I do too.
I liked Watchmen that he did too, and that's incredible.
Yes. Well, and for that matter, what about the Christopher Nolan Batmans? Those weren't like happy-go-lucky, fun time, last minute. Same thing. So why did they not get, like, everybody loved those, but yeah, it's weird. And like the whole Marvel thing, like, I always get irritated because when people pit the two against each other, because you shouldn't do that. It's so dumb to me. Like, we can like everything or not like any of it. It's fine, whatever you want to do. But like, to sit there and go, oh, Marvel did it all right, and DC's just trying to be like Marvel and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so Marvel has its own shtick, but I don't know that that's necessarily the right way. It's just the way they did it, right? And there's stuff about those movies that I think could be better.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's so weird to me. And I feel like when Batman versus Superman came out, I think people went into it already hating it. I think because Marvel was so popular, all that Marvel stuff was like slamming at the time. And it was like, well, we like Marvel and DC's stupid. And people didn't even like watch the movie and went and trashed it online. And then once people start doing that, then people won't even give it a shot. Like, they've already made up their mind. Like, well, these people hate this movie, so it must not be any good. So they've already made up their mind before they even watch it. And so that's why, like, a couple weeks ago, I made a post, like, don't listen to critics, judge things for yourselves. Like, don't take the word of Joe Schmo on the internet that saw it and picked it apart because they pick everything apart.
Oh yeah.
Because that's how people do. Yeah. So I don't know. It's irritating to me. And like, I just don't go into stuff expecting to hate it. So I'm generally pretty entertained by most things that I watch. Generally speaking, I don't, I can't think of a movie really where I watched it and was like, God, that was the stupidest crap I've ever seen. I can think of a couple. And the reason I didn't like them was because they were super artsy, pretentious, and that's just not my thing. But like, other people are like, oh, this is the greatest film ever. And I'm watching it going, okay, not my thing. But I don't have to go online and tell everybody this movie's stupid and this is why, because I don't like it when people do that to stuff I like. So why would I do it to stuff that other people like? I just think that's rude. Well, there's no reason for it.
What a waste of energy and time, right?
Sure.
Like, there's things there's obviously things that we don't like. I mean, everything is, subjective. And hey, if we all like the same stuff, what a boring planet this is.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I don't go out of my way to like go like, this sucks because but watch, there's going to be a lot of YouTube comments on this now.
No, there won't be, because I turned the comments off of my videos because I'm not here to be criticized and whatever. I'm here to have fun talking to my friends. People don't need to comment on me talking to my friends. So that's my thoughts on it. But I mean, I know how it makes me feel when I happen to randomly go by someone's post where they're trashing something that I like. It automatically makes me feel like I want to defend it. or that I don't like that person anymore because I think they're a jerk. So I don't ever want to make anybody else feel that way. So I try really hard not to be like that about music or TV shows or whatever, because I don't want to make people feel that way. I
Right.
can have my opinion. There's some stuff that I absolutely cannot stand, but I'm not going to go online and talk about it because I know a lot of people who are very close friends of mine who love those things. So
Yeah.
why would I want to make them feel bad about it? I just don't think
Exactly.
that's a nice way to live.
Oh yeah. No, no one needs to see eye to eye all the time, but
Of course.
we can all get along and like,
Yeah.
not go out of our way to put someone down for not agreeing with what
Right.
we agree with.
Right. And I've gotten to the point where a lot of times I won't even talk about stuff online because I know invariably somebody's going to tell me, like, well, that's dumb and this is why, or there's always got to be someone contrary,
Hmm.
about it. Like, that's fine. You don't have to agree with me ever, ever. But you also don't have to goad me into an argument. Like, it's
Yeah.
so just the most emotionally exhausting. And so I've deleted so many of my posts when they start turning into this weird debate about stuff that I just am not interested in debating.
Yeah. It's only happened a few times. I don't get anything. I try not to post anything like political or anything like that. I'm not that kind
Right.
of,
It's hard.
but there'll just be stupid things I'll post sometimes, just like riddles, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Going back into the DC universe, like this past
Yeah.
quarantine, one of my favorite pastimes was posting riddles on my social media. And even as I was just figuring that'd be a fun way to get people together and do this fun game, right? And I'm a nerd, dude. I love riddles and chess and games and puzzles, and
Yeah.
I got a bunch of them. So I was like, this would be kind of fun. And even just simple things like that would get people just riled up in my comments, and then I just have to like stop it because like I don't want. I can take it, but I don't want my other friends and people getting into
Yeah.
arguing stuff. I don't want that negativity. It's like it's supposed to be just a friendly thing. And some,
Right. It was supposed to be fun, not like a debate. Like we
yeah,
talked about that a little bit, when we first logged on here. It's like people make everything, it doesn't matter what it is. Someone's got to debate it, or they got to turn it into something that was not intended,
yeah,
and apply their, like, just because they view something a certain way doesn't mean that the person that they're aiming that at was thinking it the exact same way. And so
hmm,
everything that you perceive is from your perspective. So you can't apply your perspective and your reasoning and your rationalization onto somebody else.
yeah.
So it's just silly to me. I don't know. It's
Me too.
exhausting.
And it's like that. Have you ever seen that show Key and Peele? I don't know why I'm bringing this up,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
there was a
Not
sketch
a
where
lot of it, but yeah, I have seen some. Yeah.
if you're familiar with the sketch where they're like sending texts back and forth to each other, like the two Jordan Peele and Keegan Michael Key, and they're like they're sending text and it's showing them like back and forth and how they're perceiving the text. So it's like um, he's the guys got one of the guys is at the bar. He's like, "Hey, where are you at? I'm at the bar." And then he shows the other guy like he's back at his house. He's like in his head, he's like speaking out loud. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to miss you. Got caught up." And he sends a text, and the other guy at the bar is like, "I'm sorry, I missed you. I got caught up. I'm not good enough." It's like just like
Yeah.
I'm not doing it justice, but like just the way if you some people read text versus another person, like it's it's you might completely take it out of context. Is what I'm saying. It's just
Yeah. And some of
with the
us who are super sarcastic,
oh yeah
I swear, and I'm not the only person that said this, it's a thing, but there needs to be like our sarcasm font, because it's like sometimes somebody says something sarcastic, but you don't know that person. So you don't know that they're being sarcastic. This happened to me earlier where I posted this goofy drawing that I did a few years ago, and somebody made a comment and I thought they were being serious. And I was like, no, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, dude, I'm being sarcastic. I'm like, okay, cool. We're cool now. But then everybody jumped on this person and it became this whole
Yeah.
drama that I don't even want to be associated with. And so I'm like, I'm not doing this. And I just deleted the post because it's like, it's just not worth. Life is hard enough
Yeah.
without dumb crap like that, But yeah, it happens all the time. And then like it's gotten a little less drama with the whole political thing since we're not in a, getting ready for an election or whatever. So that's kind of mellowed out a lot. But my God, the last 4 years just, and I mean, it's hard not to get goaded into stuff or even antagonize people sometimes because of the ridiculousness of so many things. But, oh, Lord. Like some days I feel like somebody needs to just close down my Facebook profile and take it away from me or something, or, let somebody else maintain it for me or something. Cause I lost family. I lost close friends. I lost people that I grew up with on both sides of it. They didn't want to deal with me, and some of them I didn't want to deal with them anymore. Just it's hard when you find out people's real feelings about things. And I'm not talking about the opinion of a Marvel versus DC. I'm talking about morality, deep issues of morality, and somebody's not the person that you thought they were. That's disturbing. And that's one thing that is a good and bad thing, because on the one hand, you're like, I wish I would have never known that about that person so that we could still be cool and be friends and whatever. But then on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, but it's good to know that that's how they really think, because I don't want to be associated with people that ugly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we were probably so much better back before the internet. And it's like the internet has so many wonderful things like this right here. We get to sit here and talk to each other, which otherwise we wouldn't get to do. But then on the other hand, there's everything else.
Yeah.
So it's a frustrating thing. And then, I have a 9-year-old, so it's like trying to navigate that whole thing where instinctively I'm like, he shouldn't be playing video games and he shouldn't be on, doing this and this and this. But I'm like, but that's how life is now. Like that's reality for kids. So how do you say you can't do this when that's their lives? Just like when we were little, we played outside all the time and we got to run around the neighborhood, and it wasn't as scary, seemingly. It wasn't as scary as it is now. But I would never let my child. When I was Dirk's age, I would go out in the morning and not come back till dark. I would never allow that, for him.
I knew when the sun was going down, it's like, that's when dinner.
Yes. Or my mom would yell out the back door, dinner, and wherever you were, you'd come from or whatever. But I can't even imagine that.
I know it's so different now. Like I was taking like a total trip down memory lane today for some reason, and I was just remembering like just like I got a little bit older and riding the bike around,
yes,
which I need to do again, but and then just like going to like I'm gonna date myself here, but like the video rental store, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if like, because you were in Cleveland, was that
Northeast Ohio? Yeah, around and more closer to Akron.
Okay, like so did they have too, like where I was in St. Paul, but like we had like you could go to like a drugstore pharmacy, and they would have like videotapes you could rent.
Yeah.
And like comic books and like all this stuff. And I remember like missing that now. Like you can't like video rentals. I mean, that's obsolete now, obviously, but like as a kid, it was so cool. I'm like, I can get my candy. I can rent the VHS and maybe get a comic book or something. It was like the coolest little in the world.
Yeah. And it was always like, I mean, even this isn't that long ago. I did this every Friday night and sometimes Saturday when we lived here. So We moved out here in 2001. So early 2000s, like Friday night, I'd go to Blockbuster. I would pick out some movies. Then I'd go over to Subway, grab our subs, come home, and we'd have our movies for the weekend. And,
Yeah.
and that was like part of the thing. And it was fun. Of course, now we can do all that right on our television,
Yeah.
but sometimes I feel like there's so many choices that I get overwhelmed by it. So I just end up picking the same thing I've seen like 10,000 times. Which is a really weird show called The Good Witch. Again, I'm confused as to why I'm obsessed with this show. It is what it is. I accept myself for who I am. Just kidding. But it is weird. You're not gonna like it. I mean, you might, but if you like Hallmark movies, then you might like it. But
I like a wide range of stuff. Like we were talking
it's just good feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll watch something as crazy of like Midsummer to like a DC movie, and then I'm watching like 90 Day Fiance right after that. Like I'll watch some crazy stuff.
I love that show. So for a while, I think when the reality of the pandemic started to really kick in, and like you remember in the beginning how you were just afraid you were going to catch it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't leave the house, don't touch anything, constantly wash your hands, even though you haven't left the house in a week. And this mental thing kind of happened and then plus the whole stuff was going on with the election and just this chaos in the world. And I didn't want to watch anything that I would like good. Like, I didn't want to watch a good TV show. I didn't want to watch a good movie. I wanted to watch stupid, banal, pure escapism, zero quality, zero anything worth anything. So we went through that whole 90 Day Fiance thing. And we were just watching episode after episode after episode. And that was like, it was good because it was such, like, you didn't have to use your brain at all. You could watch these people and their train wreck lives. And it was just such pure escapism. And then we kind of fell off the train. I think like a season ended or something, and we just never picked back up with it or whatever. But yeah, I love that kind of junk. Like, I'll watch any reality TV. I don't care what it is. I'll watch it if I lived alone. But since I have other human beings in the house that have a say also in not watching crappy shit on TV.
Yeah.
But honestly, we kind of just are creatures of habit. Mike watches his like science, like speculative archaeology, UFO, alien, science stuff. My escapism is, what happened? Where'd you go?
Oh, sorry, hold on.
I'm like, you're a picture now.
Oh, is it the picture of the trumpet?
Yeah, what happened?
Hang on. Let's see.
There you are. That was weird.
Yeah, I gotta, it's weird. Okay, this is how unprofessional I am. I got a reminder notice on my phone about doing your show.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes, I'm doing your show, so I tried to like just go click.
Oh, yeah.
Cut it off.
Cool.
Sorry.
Well, you're better than me because I probably wouldn't have been able to figure out how to put it back on.
Oh, I'm so Zoom illiterate. Like, I'm getting better.
Yeah.
There's this show that we do, like, sorry, not trying to switch gears.
No, but, please do.
There's this like Patreon group, Clint Mason, who's like a good pal of mine down here. He's like in the Preservation Hall jazz band.
Oh,
he does his own music. Yeah, he's got these, so he does these live Zoom stuff, and we all get to connect, and I'm kind of learning it through that. And but I'll like dress up like as a clown or something like that, or
right on.
Gene Simmons one time. I think I did like Insane Clown Posse the other time.
Right on.
It's a lot of fun. So I'm kind of learning it little by little, but like it sucks because I don't have my laptop now. So like doing it through the phone's a whole different beast.
Bet, yeah. I don't know. I'm completely like, I just learn enough about stuff to get by. I half-ass everything because I just can't. I try to like research, and I'll read like 3 sentences into something and I'm like, boring. Like if I don't get the answer to something in like the first 3 sentences, I'm out. And I know that's terrible because, and I'm the exact opposite of Mike, because Mike will literally work on something until he figures it out. And it could be the most minute, tiny little detail about something. And he just has that. And I'm so envious of that, like people that have that thing. I'm just like, if I haven't figured this out in 5 minutes, I'm slamming it into the wall and giving up. And I know that's terrible, but I also saved myself a lot of headache because I don't waste my time on things that I'm not getting joy out of quickly.
Right.
If that makes any sense. So like my mom tried to teach me how to crochet once, and I'm doing it and I'm just frustrating because I can't pick it up immediately. And I'm like, I'm not wasting my time with this, move on to the next thing. But
Yeah.
it's not a good, it's not a good personality trait, I don't think. I don't know.
That's the thing. You know what I do too much is I'll get these ideas. Like right now, I'm like with the chess thing, I'm trying to like, okay, so I got like these tutorials, right? And I'll try to go through them. But yeah, some days, again, it's like trying to do music or something else. I'm just not feeling it. So I'll put it in. It'll be like, and here's, the Queen's Gambit, and it's such and such. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I know better to even try.
Put on the Real World. I need to watch the Real World and tune out. Like,
yes.
But
I feel like that's why I never picked up cards or any like thing like that, like chess or anything, because you have to learn it. And I'm just not, I don't have that gene. I don't, whatever that gear is that people have, I don't have it. So if I don't pick up something like snap, 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 I'm out. And plus I get super intimidated by that. Like if I don't know something, I've just always, I mean, this goes back to the whole thing we talked about with having zero confidence. Like I just get intimidated by everything. I hate doing math in front of people. I hate like that game Uno. Oh, yeah. I would panic because I'm like trying to add up cards so I don't look stupid, and it's not for me. Anything that involves like brain stuff. Yeah. That's how smart I am. I call it brain stuff. But anything that's like, it's just not for me. Yeah, like I will punch and kick and beat the crap out of things all day long. Football, that's for me. Baseball, I loved baseball. Anything like that, kickball, stuff like that, I'm totally cool with. But like anything like where you have to like learn steps and like, I don't think I could do Dungeons and Dragons either. There's too many rules involved in it. I don't understand. And like, I just can't. I want to be able to do it like, because it sounds like it would be fun, but that whole learning process, it's not for me. I used to be such a weirdo. No surprise, since I was the popular kid in school. I used to do Dungeons and Dragons all the time, but then I stopped, right? So like I tried to revisit it maybe like 20 years ago or something. Mm-hmm. And the game has changed. So it's like, it's a whole new updated format, but I'd forgotten everything pretty much anyway. But I tried to reread it again. It was just, so dense. I got intimidated. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to retain this information. Exactly. Let's go play some dodgeball. Exactly. Let's go do some kickboxing. I don't know. Miniature golf, something. Even that frustrates me sometimes. I don't know. I'm not good at putting myself in a position of being vulnerable with stuff like that. Emotions, I'll be emotionally vulnerable. I'll write lyrics and let you see that part of me, but I can't, like, if you make me do math in front of you, no thank you. Oh, I couldn't. I'd fail. Yeah, I can't. I get panicked. I don't know what it is. Well, that's another thing too, is like that's like a reoccur to this day, and this is like a Freudian thing, but like I still have nightmares where I'm like the age I'm at right now, which is 40 years old, and I still have to like wake up and go to school. Yes, me too, all the time. But like I graduated, but I still have to keep going back. It's like the hell scenario, and it's just so bizarre. And if it comes back from like, you disappeared again. No. There you are. I'm the worst guest ever. But it's like that,
no, not even. It's that same thing where it's like, yeah, it's the thing. I love subjects when I was invested into it, but tests and being
Yes.
bought horrible. However, I could like go
Yeah.
on stage and do music, and somehow that's fine. But
Yeah,
like
it's weird.
being social, I'm complete failure. I don't know
It's
how that
weird.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know either. And like I kind of, I said earlier, like I kind of think with music because I've been doing music since I was like 22 years old. And emotionally, I'm like I was probably like akin to a 16-year-old at that point. So I've been doing that for so long that I don't think I get as intimidated by it as other things, especially with Lycia. Like I mean, first of
Hmm.
all, I'm in my own home, I'm with my husband. It doesn't matter if it takes me 700 takes to get something right. It's fine. So I don't get nervous with that anymore. But and like you said, like I'm less nervous getting on stage to do a show than I would be having to like talk in a meeting at work with people that I work with every single day. Like
Yeah.
that makes me nervous. But yeah, it's weird. It's kind of like when I was a kid, I would get up and twirl baton in front of people and not think anything of it. Like it wasn't anything I got nervous about at all, not even remotely. So I think some of it might have to do with being young and just not as fearful of things or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so much of a carefree thing. Sorry, I had to move and
That's cool.
charge my phone for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like being a kid and like the carefree again, going to that
Yeah.
thing. And then
Yeah,
as we get older, we get, like I have anxiety like a
for
hell.
sure.
And it's like now I think about it, like you like I have no like maybe you can relate to this, but like before a show or something like that, you're hanging out and
Mm-hmm.
like maybe your friends are there or maybe someone else is trying to talk to you and like, hey, what's up? Blah blah blah, love the music and like I'm hearing you, I'm listening to you. But in my head, if it's before my set, like I'm going over the set list,
Mm,
I'm going over like the sound check thing in my head. So I'm like, I'm
yeah.
there, but I'm not. And it's just this weird out of the
Yeah.
moment thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that's how we are. I can't relax before a show. And in fact, I hate like the whole process of waiting. I
Yeah.
wish it could magically like if I had a show, let's say a month from now, I would be physically sick until that set was done. That's just the like, and I can't even control it. It's not even like I would be actively thinking about it. Your body just has this anxiety response to
Hmm.
things. And I mean, just like I got my vaccine on this past Monday, and I'm always nervous about whether it's taking medicine, getting my flu shot every year, whatever. I get nervous anytime I have to take something because you never know how your body's going to react to it. I'm not scared of getting shots at all. That doesn't scare me. But if it's something new that I've never had before, whether it's an allergy medicine or whatever, I always get nervous taking it the first time because you don't know how your body's going to react to it. And
Hmm.
so as soon as I had my appointment for that shot, I felt physically sick. Like I couldn't even control it. My stomach was hurt, stomach ache, felt dizzy and lightheaded and blah blah blah. As soon as I was actually at the place, I was fine. But that anticipation of waiting for something. So when I'm at a show or whatever, that whole time leading up to the time I go on stage, I'm sick to my stomach. I'm distracted. I might be talking to you and having a good old time, but in my head, I'm like, let's get this done. I want to get this done. I want to get this done. And then as soon as you step on stage, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like it's just that waiting, and it's like whether it's a work meeting or a doctor's appointment or taking my kid to parent teacher conference or whatever, that waiting period is what gets me. And then as soon as I'm there and it's going, I'm fine, but I don't know how to fix that because it's not like you're actively worried about it. It's just that your body's worried about it whether you are mentally or not. It's weird.
Yeah. I totally get that. Like I just, and finally, because I was without insurance and stuff for a while,
Hmm.
got to go to the hospital to do like, just like a checkup and stuff. But I knew that was coming for like 3 days. And I
Yeah.
swear, I don't know why. Like I was just like nervous about it. I don't know why. I don't like
Yes.
hospitals in general, but like I was just like, yeah, stomach and knots kind of thing. And then, as soon as it
Hmm.
happened, and the staff was completely nice and it wasn't
Of course.
anyone's fault, but it's just like me being a weirdo that I am. And but just the waiting too, the waiting in the room, I swear it took like
Yes.
5 minutes. Then I'm wearing my mask, and then it's just a weird time too for all that. So, but I
Yeah.
can't. I'm getting my shot too this week, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
The first one. So,
Yeah, same. I'm glad to be half done. My
mm,
next one is April 20th. I just want it to be over with. Just get
me
it
too.
over with. Like if I could if and that's what I kept telling people, like I wish somebody would just sneak attack me. Like just so I'm not thinking about it, like I don't know it's coming, so I'm not worried about it, and like someone just blow darts my ass when I'm walking down the street, or you know, I'm sleeping and somebody comes in and stabs me with it while I'm asleep, so I don't know what's going on. Just because, I'm like, again, I get nervous for the flu shot every year too. It doesn't stop me from doing it because I know it's science and it's the right thing to do. But I
Yeah.
still get nervous every time because you never know. And then the
Well,
older you get, I think the worse you start worrying about, that kind of stuff. And I've had vertigo for like a month now for some random reason. I
that's
don't know.
interesting. Yeah, I would like to know more about that because when I was like, I mean, let's just say even maybe like 10, 15 years ago, like I
Mm-hmm.
loved doing things like just giant roller coasters or going up
Yeah.
large buildings. But I swear, like I now, like for some reason, I just go up on top of a building doing like a tour or something like that. And I
Yeah.
start feeling like pins and needles on my feet. I'm like, what the
It's
hell's
weird. I
it?
know.
It came out
I
of
don't
no.
know. Yeah, and yeah, and you start thinking, am I having a stroke? Like what's going
Mhm.
on? But I think it's all just anxiety. But why? It's so weird. Like
Yeah.
I'll try to rationalize and I'll be like, there's zero reason why I should be nervous right now. Like all day today, I had that feeling like I drank like a gallon of caffeine, like a gallon of espresso or something. Had not had any caffeine at all. There's no reason for it. I've had that like whooshy headed, feeling. And when I rationalize, I'm like, okay, it's allergy season, hormones, whatever. You can like come up with a rational reason, but your body feels like crap. So then your mind automatically goes, oh, it's probably like I've had this vertigo thing for a month, okay? A couple
Mhm.
of weeks ago, I'm like, I've got to go to CVS. I'm just going to go to CVS Minute Clinic, get checked out, find out what's going on. I assumed it was probably just allergies. Sure enough, she's like, you have some fluid in your inner ear. Just take some Mucinex and take some allergy medicine. It'll clear up. It'll be fine. If it doesn't clear up in 10 days, then make an appointment with your doctor. Okay. I can't take Mucinex. It makes me feel absolutely horrendous. So I took like one dose of that and I'm like, this ain't for me. So I didn't take any more. And I don't like taking allergy medicine. So I'm just living with it. So
Yeah.
stupid. But, and so then you start going, what if I have a brain tumor? What if that's why I have vertigo? It's like, dude, she told you have fluid in your ears. Like, calm the F down. But you can't help, like, when you're a paranoid, like, I don't want to say paranoid, when you're like an anxious person who doesn't feel good, but there's no like reason for you not
Mm.
to feel good, it's just like the whole pins and needles in your feet, and you're like, am I having a stroke? Is this blood pressure? Is it, what the hell's going on? It's freaky.
It's yeah. The gears get turning, and I've been there too, where as a kid I used to have like tubes in my ears, that
Mm,
like that thing. So like
yeah.
maybe like 3 years ago or something, and this just happens maybe every 6 years ago, like every
Mm-hmm.
6 or so years, just for no reason. Like I'll get a fluid buildup,
Mm,
and like my ear will get clogged, but it's really disorienting. And
yeah.
I'll have to go to the hospital to get like a flush thing. I don't even know what the procedure is called, but Yeah, stuff with the ears and the sinuses, like I struggle with that and just it's
Yeah. And like your head feels so whooshy,
mm,
like it feels swimmy, like it's in water. And it mostly happens when I'm in bed. Like when you get up or you move, like roll over or whatever, you
yeah,
get that spinny head feeling. But like today, it's been like if I move my head a certain way. But again, the allergies, like pollen is crazy here. Everything's in bloom and
yeah,
it's so dry. And so part of it too, I think, is that everything is so dry in your nasal passages that it puts this pressure. I don't know, dude. I know one thing is I'm tired of it and I wish it would magically go away, even though I'm not taking any medicine whatsoever that she suggested that would make it go away. But it's like, and not to keep rambling about this, but okay, so I just had my vaccine and I took 2 days off work. I took the day of the shot because it fell in the middle of the day, and then the day after because just in case I felt like crap, which I'm glad I did because I laid in bed and slept all day. So I had those 2 days off. Then I already had scheduled April 5th and April 6th off. So this coming Monday and Tuesday, because the 6th is my birthday. And I'm like, I'm taking a long weekend. So I have those 2 days off. Now my next vaccine is scheduled for the 20th at 7 in the morning. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to work that day, knowing full well I'm not going to work that day. I'm going to go get the shot, come home and be like, okay, I need to call off the rest of the day. I'm sure that's going to happen. But I already scheduled the next day off because I've heard everybody's like that the second shot's a doozy. Go ahead and just
hmm
accept the fact that you're not going to feel good. So I took those 2 days off. Okay. Well, one technically. And I'm like, when am I supposed to fit in this other doctor's appointment? Because I'm training 6 people at work right now. So I can't just like leave all the time. And that's 6 days this month. And so I'm like, I don't want to make another doctor's appointment. And then they're probably going to say, you have to go to the ear doctor, nose, throat, whatever doctor. That's another appointment. And I have a 9-year-old son that I have to either take out of school with me or it's too much, dude. So I'm just like, I guess I have vertigo now forever and ever until it magically disappears. And then the whole time I'm going to be thinking it's probably a brain tumor, or I probably had a stroke, or my spinal column is probably pressing on some nerve that's causing me to I mean, it's ridiculous.
I
This
know.
is my life.
Yeah, I feel you. I know I, at the same time, it's like, God, like who can afford in this country to keep with all these appointments and like,
I know.
because it's always something. There's always a follow up. I have to have a follow up about another week because I just got like new medication,
Yeah.
and then there was some other stuff that I have to get an ultrasound for. And I'm like, well, great. I have to wait 2 weeks. And again, like you're saying, I'm like running through my head. Well, what could that be?
Right.
And
Right.
um,
Yeah. And I
and
try
some
not
other,
to be that way, but it's
yeah, I try
hard.
not to either. But like, and that's another down thing about just being home all the time. Like I have 4 dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Aw.
keep me they keep me busy. I could show you. Hang on, let me see if I can do this without.
Yeah.
Here's Max.
Aw.
He's a sleepy
And
beagle.
Sleepy. Aw, he's a beagle. How
But
cute.
that's the other thing with having time on my hands. All I can do is think about that stuff.
Right.
And yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I don't know. At the same time, like I'm so thankful that I can finally get into the doctor and stuff.
Yes.
It's one of the fun. Who's I can't remember who said it, but I think it was maybe a friend of mine. They're like, I want to get my anxiety medication because I have anxiety, but I have too much anxiety to call my doctor to get my anxiety medication.
Yeah.
That's completely true.
It is true. And then for me, being paranoid about taking new medicines, I'm always afraid of how
Mm,
it's going to make me feel.
yeah.
So if I were to try something like that, then it would make me feel funny because it does until
Mm,
your body adjusts to it. And then I'd be like, I'd take one pill and be like, nope, I can't take that because I feel weird. It's this whole thing. That's why,
oh
like
yeah.
I don't take I take like Prilosec. That's my one thing that I take to keep
Mm.
from getting ulcers again that I had a few years ago. But even
Oh, I'm
that,
sorry to hear that.
I don't take it every day. Like I go through these, like if I start feeling weird, then I quit taking all my vitamins and stuff because I'm like maybe the vitamins are causing something or whatever. It's a whole thing. Like I wish I had the best doctor in the world just live at my house so that they could constantly be like, Tara, you're not dying. This is anxiety or whatever, you know? Because
Yeah,
I'm always like, I'm probably dying of something that they just haven't figured out yet.
I know
It's awful. It's an
it
awful
is.
way to live.
I think that's, I don't know, that must be something that some of us come into the older we get. I don't know. It's,
Yeah. Although I feel like I was like this also in my 20s. In fact, I know I was because my friend Kathy, who she's a bit older than me, not a lot, but she's a bit older than me. So she's sort of like a big sister slash kind of mother to me. And the other day when I was getting ready to go get my shot, I'm like, I was a nervous wreck, you know? And I'm like, will you please pray for me? She's kind of like my spiritual mother, I guess you'd call it. Like, will you please pray for me? I'm completely stressing out. She's like, honey, you've been like this since I known you, and everything always is okay, right? I'm like, yeah, but, and she's like, it's gonna be fine, but yes, I'll pray for you. And that's what I needed to hear because, and it's true. It's like I always stress out about this stuff, and then it always goes fine, but you know, there's sometimes things don't go fine for people. So like my mom's famous saying is it all works out. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes the working out is that the person died. Like that's how it worked out. Or that you lost your job, or that your house burnt down. Like that's how it works out sometimes. Like everybody doesn't get a happy ending. So
yeah.
stop saying that because it's offensive to me.
Yeah.
You know, like
that's
it doesn't always work out.
that's the one, I think that's the one thing across all religions and philosophies is you can't really justify why I'm sitting here able to talk with you right now, even though we have our problems, but there's someone else out there like without a house,
Right.
starving, but didn't do anything maybe necessarily to put themselves in that position. And it's just
Exactly.
life is such a weird thing. It doesn't work out for people all the time, and
Right.
it's hard to wrap
That,
our heads around.
and I think that's what I get so offended when people say, well, if you just work hard, you just got to work hard. You got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. It's like people don't have bad things happen to them just because they're lazy
All right.
or made a bad choice. Like, that's not how life works. Some people, through no fault of their own, had bad cards dealt to them. And
Mm-hmm.
it's real easy for somebody who grew up in a nice situation to say, well, just work harder. Like, F you. You didn't even work, you didn't like work to get 90% of what you have. And you're telling this person who had all these cards stacked against them to just work harder and it'll all work out. Like, F you. Like, that's so offensive to me. It makes me so angry.
Yeah.
There's, and I like, I didn't grow up in a perfect environment like where I had, you know, huge advantages and all this stuff, but I know I had more advantages than some people do. So to sit there and tell somebody, oh well, it's your fault that these bad things are happening and just work harder, it's like so gross.
Yeah. Not everything is plain and simple as people
It
like to.
sure isn't. No.
But you know, some of the, like you were just saying earlier, like your kind of your spiritual advisor, man. Like I think in my life too, some of the best spiritual advice I've been given, or you know, is just first of all a listening ear,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
really getting the core of it. Sometimes even just being just someone hearing you out for what it is, and then like you
Mm-hmm.
said,
And not judging you for it.
it's gonna, yeah, it's somehow, you know, it's gonna be okay. It
It
might
really helps.
it really does help, at least
Yeah.
just to soothe the situation. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's been a lot of people that have ran into my life where they're like, well, you know, you got to do this and that. I'm like, well, that's, you know, easier said than done. And then, the people with
Right.
power most of the time have a little bit of wealth to go off. So, it's
And that wealth wasn't self-earned. Usually it's like
hmm
you were already in a family that had wealth, and so you started on third base and everybody else is still in the dugout waiting there. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind
yeah.
of insulting. It's not kind of insulting, it's extremely insulting for people
hmm
who have started out with the home run, telling the guy that they won't even let play on the team, that he needs to just work harder. It's like, whatever, dude. And like you were saying about the listening thing, I feel like we all have those people in our lives that will let us unload stuff on them, and they'll let you kind of be neurotic for a little bit about stuff, and then they're like, okay, that's enough, stop feeling sorry for yourself, let's be rational here, you're not dying of a brain tumor. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think part of listening is also not letting somebody get too deep in their self-pity, because we
Sure.
all have a tendency to get there sometimes, and it's like, I know for like people in my life, like, I'll let you feel sorry for yourself for a while, because we all need to do that sometimes. Like, we all have to have that, like, oh, woe is me, my life sucks, I suck, everything sucks, I'm probably going to die on the street, and blah, 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 blah. You can do that for a little while. And then after a while, I'm like, dude, come on. Like, just stop.
Yeah. Well,
You
it's the
know?
same old song and dance then.
Right. Like, let's just stop with the pity party and let's figure this out. Like, this is not getting us anywhere. And
Right.
I get in that rut. I do. There's some days where you just feel like, I don't know what my purpose is here. Nobody cares about any of this crap that I'm spending all of this time and all of this energy doing. And I suck at it anyways. And no, you just get into that vibe. And if somebody doesn't like snap you out of it, kind of, in one way or the other, either some random person tells you something that makes you go, okay, well, I guess maybe I don't suck that bad, or someone straight up says, you just fucking knock it off, like, you're being stupid right now. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you need that, but
Absolutely. A rude awakening can be a good
mm-hmm,
thing. So,
mm-hmm,
yeah, you'll go down that rabbit hole, and it's just get difficult to get out of it, man. I know, and even like, I mean, that, I don't know. It seems so simple and so stupid, but it works for me. I'm not saying this works for everybody, but someone just said, like, get out and just like take a walk, like get out,
yeah,
get
refocus on something.
yeah, get out outside. And I was like, well, whatever. But he's like, if you can just get yourself out of bed, trust me,
Mm-hmm.
like just like walk around the block or something. I ended up walking like a long ass time, and I was like, you know what? This is kind of nice. Like, I'm seeing things again, and like seeing just noticing little things around the
Yeah,
neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, I remember why I like being around. It's like just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
certain little things. That's not a long term cure for that feeling by any means, but just
Sure.
like these little short term solutions. But yeah, I mean, I wish I had all the answers, because I mean,
Right. Don't we
it's
all?
like, yeah, I mean, I wish I knew, because like I don't like medication as
Mm-hmm.
next to the next person, but also there's therapy, and there's all kinds of
Sure.
stuff to do. Spiritual
Sure.
spiritual work has helped me out a
Mm-hmm.
lot, and yeah, but it's, God, how did we get on this subject?
I don't know, but I mean, I feel like we're not. I was whining about anxiety, probably, but
Oh no,
I think that more people feel like this than don't.
I agree.
I think that so many people. I talked about this a little bit with a friend the other day. It's like, so many people put on this facade that they're happy, and like, my marriage is great and my child is perfect and I love my career, and then, but the reality of it is, they don't really like their spouse, their kid is like not listening to them and screaming and hollering, and their room's a mess, and they don't like their job because it's stressful, and blah 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 blah. but they put on this fake facade that everything's great. And to me, not only is that lying to yourself because you know how you really feel,
Yeah.
but you're making people who don't feel that way and don't have that life feel like something's wrong with them because they don't feel that way. Like, what do they call it? Like toxic positivity?
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to say, okay, chin up, man. We got this. Let's be positive. Let's make today great. And then there's another to just be in this weird denial of like, no, everything's perfect. But you're like wanting to slit your wrists all day long. You know, like there's that
Right.
fine line between being real and coping, I guess. But I remember one time I was talking to my dad on the phone, and he was just bitching and moaning and whining, and life sucks, and just nonstop, nonstop, nonstop. And finally, I just said, "Oh my God, stop feeling sorry for yourself." And he goes, "Well, if I don't, who will?" And that struck me so funny. Like I busted out laughing, which I'm sure not did not make him feel pleasant, but it was
Yeah.
just such a like self-pity, oh woe is me thing that it made me laugh so hard. So every once in a while, like when I'm like being morose about something or other, and Mike will bring that up, like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. And like, I'll be like, yeah, but if I don't, who will? Because it was just such a like self-pitying thing to say.
Just a
And I
random.
mean, we all feel like that though sometimes, like that nobody
Mm.
really cares and whatever. But it was just you do get to that point where you're just like, oh my God, I'm so annoying even to myself. Like, get over it, knock it off. Like, quit being such a like pussy or whatever. I don't know. Like,
No,
suck
that's
it
another
up.
thing. Like, we're fortunate enough to have like good support system, you
Yeah.
know, in that respect. And like, and you're a writer too. Maybe you've done this. Like sometimes, like when I'm in that funk like that, like because no one else will give a shit. Like fuck the world. Like you ever just all of a sudden just get out. Like I'm old school, so I still have the notebooks and pen, but I'll start like
Mm-hmm.
doing some poetry or something. Just like get that motion out, and it might suck. I don't care. Like I'll just like crumple up
Mm-hmm.
and throw it away. But like just getting that out on like pen and paper, or like laptop, typewriter,
Yeah.
whatever your thing is. Like that's kind of therapeutic
Yeah.
too. If
Yeah.
you don't have someone to like talk to, immediately, I think that's like a
Yeah. I think for me, I mean, I'm a huge prayer. I like to pray.
yeah.
So I do it on and off all day long. Anytime something comes into my mind, or if I see somebody post something awful, a lot of people are always asking for prayer. And I never, and I'm not saying this because I think I'm cool or self-righteous or anything like that, but if I see somebody asking for help, I don't not say a prayer for them, because to me that's like, I know a lot of people don't believe in it, and that's fine. You don't have to believe in anything. I don't care. But I just think even if you don't believe in it, the fact that somebody in the world is thinking something positive for you means something, even if it's electricity in the air. I don't know. But
I agree. I think that's a gift if someone seeks it out. I can think of like people just whether it's advice or just people opening up to you in general
yeah.
and telling you something so emotional where they need prayer. I think like for me that's like kind of a blessing to me, even though sometimes it can be you can carry on that
Yeah, it's hard. It
that heart.
hurts.
But
Yeah.
I think still though, I think that's something that I'm definitely thankful that I've had in the past or in the future and present of people asking if they do ask for a prayer or something from me, that I'll certainly do it. I have this hold on, let me show you something on this subject.
Sure.
But like I have my altar here where
Mm-hmm.
can't really kind of see it too well, but
Oh, cool.
Dr. John. But but yeah, I mean not that I'm like a spiritual guru by any means, but
Right.
certainly if people need a prayer or something, like, yeah, that does totally like go out of my way to do that, just
I just think I can't fix anybody's problems for them. I mean, I wish I could. So, like, sometimes you see people who are suffering really, really dark stuff, and there's literally nothing I can do. But I can think about them, and I can direct positive energy and healing, and like hope that their circumstances change.
yep.
And whether it makes, I mean, I know for myself, when people tell me I'm praying for you and mean it, that means something to me. Like, that I know that that person cares enough about me to spend that, even if it's 30, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever. That
Hmm.
means something to me. And it does make me feel better because I'm like, okay, that person's rooting for me. Okay, so I know I've got my pack of people back here with me, even if
Yeah.
they're not really here, they're here, So that, I mean, I think that there's power in that mentally, even beyond. You don't have to believe that there's a God listening to this. You don't have to believe that. I believe that. That's my personal belief. But I just think that it's a good place to be in, where you see somebody else suffering and you take the focus off yourself for however long, whether it's just a 10-second prayer or you spend 5 hours on face down on the carpet praying for this person. You're taking the focus off yourself for a minute to focus it on somebody else. So I think that's positive. And
Hmm.
another thing is that I don't necessarily go and work on any writing or anything like that when I'm feeling like that. I more do sort of like escapist, I guess you'd call it sort of daydreaming, where I'll come up with stories in my head of whatever. I do this a lot when I walk, which I haven't been walking a ton lately, which bums me out because that, like you were saying, just getting out of the house and walking, I think that your body kind of burns off those chemicals that cause anxiety and stuff like that when you use your body. So it's behooves you, if you're stressed out, to do some sort of exercise. But
Yeah, it's a
and
healthy
I
form of
for sure,
adrenaline
and
and
it's like almost meditative. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because your brain, like, especially if you're doing something difficult, your brain can't really sit around feeling sorry for yourself or like worrying if you're doing like Taibo for 30 minutes because you're trying to breathe and not fall
yep.
over. But so I think I more do kind of stuff like that, like escapist sort of daydreams, or I come up with a lot of stories when I walk too, because there's nothing to do when you're walking but be
Hmm.
in your own head. So, and I like to walk by myself, so I kind of come up with a lot of stories that way. So it's sort of the same thing. I just don't actually physically type or write anything down.
I was going to ask you about that because that's it's something I really agree with too. Like if I'm by myself walking, or
Yeah.
the days that I used to just go to bars and be that weirdo with a notebook. But again, that's like I got the best ideas, like being by yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you don't have any distractions per se, so
Yeah.
it's keeping the gears moving. And I think that's the thing, man. It's like keeping yourself occupied. That's why I love cooking too, is because it's the same thing. It's creative, but it's also you feel like you're doing something to
Yeah.
spread positive joy and love, and it keeps your mind focused, and it's a healthy outlet.
Yeah. That's a healthy outlet for you. I have a horrible relationship with food. So
Oh,
if
sorry.
I could, no, you don't need to apologize for that. I love food and hate it at the same time. Like, if I could eliminate having to eat, I would. But not because I don't like food, but just because I have a weird thing with it. But I
Selective.
can definitely, yeah, I definitely, because you're nurturing somebody when you're like, I love cooking for people. I'm not a
Yeah,
good cook or anything like that, but it feels good to feed people and make them happy, and that's definitely cool.
yeah, I like that. If it's just me, yeah, I'm definitely not going all out. But yeah, I'm cooking for people, and I've worked in restaurants and stuff. So that, but that's such a fast pace kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
but it's fun. I mean, there's so many outlets, and sorry if I backtrack on that, but the spiritual side of it, I love that because you can do whatever you want spiritually. It doesn't, maybe you don't even have to be spiritual, but if you just take time to sort of meditate or light a candle, like I like to do on my altar, that's another thing where
Yeah.
you feel like you're putting out that positive energy, right? So it's just getting your mind frame in that positive energy. Some atheists will do sort of ritualistic things where it's just getting your mind frame in the right space, clearing your head of the stress. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, but I mean, as long as you're coming from a positive outlook, I think there's a lot of options. We sometimes forget about them when we're just in that
For
dark
sure.
place.
Yeah. And even the whole walking thing, like when this whole pandemic started, like I was having some health problems. Because I have a metabolic disease. Stupid. I mean, it's not stupid. It is what it is, but it's aggravating to me. So basically, that's one of the things, like I have a bad relationship with food because of the metabolic disease and my body processes food weird. And that's hence the reason I need to lose weight. And it's a massive struggle. It's been a massive struggle my entire life, blah, 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 blah. So if I could just not eat, then I would be happier because there's all this guilt associated with it and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, what was my point? They're walking. So when this whole pandemic started, I was not feeling very well and went to my endocrinologist, and she's like, you've got to lose weight, you've got to get exercise. So I just started walking every night, and it became this awesome, totally escapist. Like, it's dark, I'm out walking by myself. I prefer to walk by myself just because, like, again, you can disconnect and just it becomes this like meditative thing. I would work out whole story plots in my head that I never would have come up with just sitting at the computer, because your brain kind of starts in one place and goes to another place and stuff like that. And so I was doing that like 3 and 4 times a day. I would go walk in the morning. I would go on my lunch break. I would go after work. And then my favorite time would be in the dark at night, And then I started doing that. And then I started doing Taibo again, which I freaking love Taibo. It's hard, but I love it. And so I was doing all this stuff and I was feeling super positive, and like that anxiety had gone away. And, because your body's working out those chemicals that just sit in your system otherwise. And so it was like all this positive stuff. And then it got hot here. Yeah. Now, I am not that person that is going to go walking when it's 115 degrees. It's miserable. I hate it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do Taibo, right? You can't walk. I'll just do Taibo. Then I hurt my back because I have this whole thing with my spine. And so the doctor's like, stop doing Taibo. So then you get out of the routine of all of it. I can't go walking because it's too hot. I can't do Taibo because my legs are going numb. So then you get out of the habit of doing it. And so that's where I kind of am now, where I'm like, I'm trying to get back into it. But once you get out of the habit of that stuff, it's really hard. When you're like, yeah, but I could just sit here and watch Hell's Kitchen on TV instead of go for a 5-mile walk,
Oh,
and then,
sure.
of course, now it's getting hot again. It was like 92 or something here today. So it's just this whole clusterfuck of stupid, basically.
Yeah, you're speaking to my heart on all these subjects because, like, yeah, I'm in New Orleans, so like it's starting to get hot. Well, y'all have us beat on the heat temperature, but like it's humid down here, so it's like
it's all miserable.
Yeah, it gets nasty.
It's not a competition.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, it's the same thing. I'm like, I could go outside and just melt, or I could put on another Dark Shadows on Prime.
Exactly, but that's not exercising my body.
Exactly, and it's not good for me. And all of a sudden, I'm just like another slug. But I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to now I'm again trying to get out there and do it. And I have these I have peppers and basil and rosemary and stuff in the backyard. So I'm watering those. kind of like trying to keep track of that every day. So there's stuff to
Yeah.
keep occupied. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely need to get back into the exercise regimen. Practice what
Yeah. I know. And because of the whole metabolic thing, like if I don't watch every single thing I eat and exercise, I just automatically gain weight. So it's like super frustrating. So then you're just like, well, why should I starve myself all the time and be miserable when it's not making me really lose any weight anyways? And then you go crazy the other way and you're like, well, I'm going to eat pizza for dinner and I'm going to eat, a muffin for breakfast and who cares? And then you're like, oh, I just gained 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Awesome. It's this whole thing. And that's why I'm like, I wish I could sort of like be an AI or something, like a humanistic AI, like the ones in like AI, the movie, where you look like a human and feel like a human and all that stuff, but your body is a robot.
I would
That would
love.
be fantastic.
Yeah, I would love. Let's see if we could take maybe 29, 31-year-old Ryan and just like get that body back.
Ugh,
But
yeah.
composite the knowledge that I have now.
Exactly. Like
And then,
download this into like
yeah,
a new. Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, and I've never had the body I wanted to have anyway. So it's like a whole thing. Like I have a whole mental thing about this. I've
it's a
been through
whole.
therapy. They can't fix it.
Hmm.
It's like I'll be 49 in like a couple days. And I'm like, okay, I still haven't fixed this issue I've literally been praying about since I was in kindergarten.
Mm,
So is it ever going to be fixed? Probably not. I'm
yeah,
probably going to die hating the body that I'm in and regretting that I didn't starve myself more. That's really depressing.
it's discouraging.
Wow. That's super depressing. I just said that. That's really depressing. I
Yeah, but
hate
like,
that.
yeah, God,
Wow.
it's
Fucked
discouraging. Like
up.
going back to that. Yeah, you don't see results, so it's like, why bother? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
know
is. It's hard.
it's totally hard. I mean, I
And then
wish.
people are always like, just eat less and just
No,
exercise more. It's like, but
that
that
doesn't
doesn't
work.
work. It doesn't work. And
It
my
doesn't
like my
work.
endocrinologist gets it. My endocrinologist is like, with your system, if you lose a pound, you're doing well. And it's like, that's so depressing. Like people don't get how depressing that, like people who are overweight because they just kind of got lazy and if they just eat right they drop 30 pounds, don't get how depressing that is for
Yeah.
somebody who needs to lose like a lot of weight and that has physical like medical things against them. Like
Hmm.
I don't think people get how hard that is, and most people sort of view overweight people as like, well, you're just lazy and you eat too much. Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
there's still that stigma to it. Like I'm not putting myself in your shoes by any means or anything, but I empathize. I mean, I have like medications for like high blood pressure and cholesterol.
Yeah,
It does restrict me from certain things just because I can't
right.
be too active without my heart exploding. But like,
Right.
but yeah, it's like
That's scary.
miserable, man. It sucks because like, but I probably brought it on myself with my past, but that's a whole nother subject. But like, yeah,
And that's not fair to do to yourself either. Like I'm sure you're the exact same way. I don't judge anybody even remotely harshly as I judge myself. Like I don't look at other people and go, you should do XYZ. Like I just don't do that, but like to myself, oh my god.
yeah,
What, like you get up and eat one wrong thing and that's it the rest of the day. That's all I
wow,
think about is I already failed. It's 8 o'clock in the morning and I failed. You
wow,
know what I mean? Like and
yeah,
it's been this way my entire life. I can't remember a time in my life that I didn't think that way. And then you had people reinforcing it by telling you that.
hmm,
So how do you fix that? I don't know how to fix that.
yeah. I wish I wish there was things I could erase that stuck out
Yeah.
in the past like that. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
just,
it's hard.
you what is it? The human human psyche, the human brain is going to remember a bad experience over a good experience. And
Sure.
that sucks
Every
because
time.
I think more about the bad stuff that has been told to me as opposed to like, hey, you're a great guy. Like,
Right, right,
okay, thank you. And then like, I just, I forget about that, but I'll
right.
certainly think about how someone said, man, your shoes fucking suck. Like,
Right, of course. Well, and like, there being like an overweight person or whatever, especially I feel like it's worse for girls.
yeah.
Um, there's always this thing. I mean, I remember this boy telling me one time, "Oh, if you looked like such and such, I'd marry you." It had nothing to do with my personality. So like people say shit like this all the time. Or just it happens all the time. Like it happened very first project festival. I'm walking through the crowd, somebody yells lose weight at me. Like
Jesus
so
Christ.
this shit's always in your head. And so you want to talk about social anxiety. If you're already sort of an anxious person, and then you have it in the back of your mind that everybody's looking at you like, oh my God, I thought she looked different than that. Why would I want to go play a show? Why would I want to go do this, or like whatever? Because it's already going in my brain anyways without anybody saying a word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if it's already playing in my mind, then I'm not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody reinforces it by saying something, it's a whole thing,
Yeah.
And it's always there. It's literally it's always in my brain. If I'm awake, that loop is going in my brain. And even when in my dreams, I'm insecure. It's never escapes me. I'm never confident ever. There's never a dream I have where I'm like, I'm the bomb. Like, doesn't happen. Never. So in my wakeful life, I'm like, I suck. And in my sleep, I'm like, I suck. It sucks. It really sucks. I don't know how to fix that.
Well, you
I
don't,
really don't.
for what it's worth. But I will say,
Debatable.
I mean, women in music and on stage, or just, you do a photo shoot or whatever. You're in the social, or just in everyday life, have it so much worse. I know it's people will like shout shit out at women. I've seen more often than guys. Like, it's just it fucking. I can't believe we're in this time of day and all this like horrible shit still going on. But yeah, I wish I knew the answers for you, because
I
that's
know.
hard. Like, I hope you don't
I
feel
wish
that way.
I did too. I wish I could fix that. I don't know how to fix it. I've been, like I said, I've been to therapy, and people can tell you, well, don't think that way about yourself. And here's some tools to help you not think that way about yourself. But I feel like when it's so ingrained in you, that it's like who you are at some point.
Well, it's happened over a long period of time. So that's I did therapy too for a while, and I did not get along with my therapist. I didn't dislike the guy, but it definitely kind of dissuaded me from going back to it. And the fact that he was just like, I would sit down and I was ready to like, just, you suppress these things. So you need some sort of, you need something. He'd be like, so how are you feeling today? Like, yada, yada, yada. So why are you sad?
If I fucking knew that.
Yeah, why would I be sitting here if I had something as simple of a fucking answer as that shit? I'm like, is this how it always is? Like, all right, like you're gonna need to dig a little bit deeper here, like probe for a little bit more further questioning. Let's get some synopsis of like some early years. Maybe let's talk about the Hellraiser movies. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. But again, modern medicine and psychology, psychiatric medicine doesn't. Every person is different.
Sure.
The chemical makeup of us is different in some ways. It's like, there's no possible. If we were all wired the same way, we would have an answer. Right. But it's just, it sucks to me, and it makes me hurt that like my friends still hurt and I hurt.
Yeah.
But it's just,
I
damn,
know it's not
we keep
fair.
going, but
And I look at you, I look at my friends, and I'm just like, but you're so awesome. Like, don't you know what I mean? And it's like I wish I could fix that. I don't know how to fix it. That's I mean, obviously it's not me to fix it, but I don't want
I,
people to feel like that.
yeah, uh, yeah, I'm that empath too, man. It's like I,
Yeah,
I will try to fix somebody before trying to fix myself, and I think
for
that's
sure.
kind of fucked me up maybe for a lot of years because I focused a lot of attention maybe on people that didn't deserve it necessarily,
Right. Right.
put myself in harm's way. But that's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
like I feel like I'm like hyper aware of my motivations for 99% of what I say, think and do. But this one thing I can't fix, and I don't like, where did it come from? What started it? Like, I don't know. I don't
The
know what
root,
it is.
the root
Yeah,
of
I
the
don't know. And even if I did know at this point, can you fix it? I don't know. It's weird.
that's something too. I think about like the deranged mind of me saying like, if you didn't go through all this fucked up shit and make all these fucked up decisions, would have you have been the person you are now, which you somewhat like, but
Right, right,
more,
right.
more so the people that you've met along the way because of these decisions,
Yeah.
the good ones, but also, I mean, at my worst, I create some of my favorite shit. and, and
Yeah.
you start to hone in on, well, do I have to be this fucked up person in order to create this art? And you get into that mind space.
Yeah.
But getting to the root, yeah, I mean, shit, I don't know. I think that's why the psychiatrists get paid the dollars that I'll
They
never
sure
make.
do. You know what happened to me is my last therapist, because I've been to two. The first one I liked a lot, but she was very clinical, but and not in a bad way, but just very professional. The last lady that I went to, I liked her so much that we ended up just kind of becoming friends. And so I would go there and we would just talk to each other as friends as opposed to like, let's dig into this problem. Like it
Yeah,
got to the point where I felt like I'm just coming here to hang out. I'm not really fixing anything. I'm just talking to her like I would you or my friend Stephanie or Shelby or whoever. She knew all this stuff about my personal life. I knew some stuff about her personal life because we would relate stories to each other. So it kind of became this weird thing. So I just quit going because I'm like, this isn't really doing anything that I wouldn't get from talking to my friend. But she did,
yeah,
I mean, she had some really great insights, but of course, and like, you know, had me work on some stuff that I think really super helped. But again, it just kind of became this like, I'm just hanging out with my buddy right now and paying her money. Like it was weird. Like I brought her books and CDs, like, cause we would talk about everything. And she's like, oh, I want to hear your books or read your books and stuff. And, you know, just, it became this
that's so cool.
official yeah, it was, I mean, she's a great woman. She's since moved out of state, but and actually a friend of mine sees her now on because she does online also. But I just think that I thought that was funny.
That's
But
so
yeah,
neat.
I don't. I'm like weird like that though. I make friends with freaking everybody. It's kind of bizarre. Like doctors and stuff I go to, I end up telling them like every personal thing about my life, and then I'm weird.
I love, hey, is, and I know I was saying earlier, like I get anxiety about just talking to people, but like sometimes in the right mode, like I love to just hear people out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll give everyone time of day. Yeah, as long as you're not like racist or
Sure, of course.
transphobic, homophobic, all that shit. Like,
Yeah. I know
well,
it's funny. I think it was yesterday I made a post and I just said, just be nice to people. That's all. And then, of course, like, I mean, I love this guy, but he said something like, except for racists and such and such. I'm like, bro, I'm not talking about that. Like,
yeah,
don't turn this into something like that again. Like, obviously, I don't mean to be like buddy, buddy, chummy, chummy, nice with racists and like pedophiles. Like, that's not what I'm talking about.
it's just a general. pay it
Yeah,
for
just be
positivity.
nice to people. Like,
Yeah,
you don't go out of your way to be a dick. That's all I meant. Don't
exactly.
turn it into some weird thing.
I know sometimes it's, stepping stones like that seem so fun, right? Like you can tell people like, try everything. Try to meet a new friend. You thought you would never meet a new friend before, and
Yeah,
try to do all these things. And it's like, I hope we can get back there someday. I mean, it's so crazy now with the world. I don't know.
I know. And like, yeah, things are definitely different. I don't know that everything will go back to how it was.
I don't
I
think
mean,
so.
I think we'll go back to going out and doing things, but I think it has to have had a psychological effect, you know?
Well, yeah, I will say this: like they just started phase 3 down here in New Orleans, and already I've been hearing from friends down the French Quarter that there's like 60% of out of towners coming down because they have restrictions in their states and they're not wearing masks, and you know, uh,
We'll be
it's all the
right
stuff.
back where we were.
Yeah, that's what my feeling was. I mean, but I mean, they started to open up music venues again and stuff, which trust me, I wish I could go out and start doing that again. But I want to wait till I get my shots, and
Right.
even then, I'll wear my mask because I think it's
Yeah, we're not going to stop wearing those.
yeah. But I think there's still after this, after everything's let's say like in a perfect world, right? Like everyone's vaccinated, everyone's good,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're back on track, however long that might take. I think there's still going to be like you know no one's going to really like I don't know how to describe it like shake hands or like shake hands with a stranger or
Right.
not that many people probably do that anyway, but like there's going to be this always sort of underlying thing of like not
Yeah, for sure.
getting too close or something. I
Yes,
think
a
it's going to
hundred
be out.
percent. Do you
Yeah.
do this too, where you watch TV shows that are pre-pandemic and you see people like sharing a drink, like
Yes.
drinking out of the same cup, or like going up to a stranger and hugging them, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Or like you
Yep.
take a bite of something and then give the person a bite of it. I'm like, don't do that. But if you think about it, that is kind of crazy to do that.
Yeah. I was just thinking too, like it's not uncommon anywhere in the US, but down here too, we got a lot of homeless and like, if I'm out to eat at a restaurant, which I don't really do anymore, but
Right.
I would give my leftovers to people for sure and
Yeah.
stuff. And I wonder if even that is a faux pas now. I heard there's a big homeless population down here, and then someone was telling me today that they saw cops citating people for hanging out, and they're trying to move everybody out. I'm like, where are you gonna put them? Like,
I
where are you gonna?
know.
I
Same
mean,
thing happens here. There's a huge homeless population in
it's like,
Phoenix and Tempe and Mesa. Yeah.
uh,
Um, and it's kind of the same thing. Like they'll run them out of one place and then they'll just go someplace else. And then they run them out of there and then they go someplace else. So it's kind of like there. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how you fix that,
yeah,
but it's really sad. I don't know how you fix it though. I really, I have
yeah.
no answers.
I don't have the answers either. And sometimes it's we have a lot of homeless that are maybe have problems,
Yeah.
uh, some psychological or
Yeah.
stuff like
Hmm.
that, or don't have family that can help. And
Right.
before you know it, what do you do?
Right. Exactly.
It's sad though,
If you
but I
can't
try,
take care of yourself.
yeah, and so I try to help it. I wonder if even that might be an issue of like, to go boxes and stuff, or there's so much to think about, but
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. I don't know. I don't know how to fix any of it.
yeah,
There's people that are a lot smarter than me that have better. I mean, they have ideas, But the problem is, it seems like so many people in our society are just like, I don't want to help them. Let them help themselves. Or, I
hmm
mean, you hear stuff like that all the time. I'm not going to have my tax dollars pay for your health insurance. Like, the thing that disturbs me a lot of the time is that people that who claim to be Christian say these things, and I'm like, that's not a Christian principle in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know how you can justify calling yourself that if that's what you think. Like, where's the disconnect? Like, I'm a Christian. I believe in helping people. Why? I don't know how that's not a Christian principle. But then they
Yeah.
call you things like a socialist and a communist and everything. And I'm like, I guess you don't read the Bible, because Jesus clearly said, take care of the poor.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing to me. Don't call yourself that if you're not following those beliefs. It's just weird. I don't get it.
Love thy brother. And,
Right.
there's down here, I mean, I haven't been able to go to it with the pandemic, but my temple, I guess you could say, I follow a spirituality of New Orleans voodoo, which is also has Catholicism kind of intertwined in it. I won't go trying to explain it to everybody because will put us here for another 3 hours.
Right.
But I will say it's a positive thing. If there's any misconceptions out there, it's a spiritual thing. It's the ancestors. But I will say, like you said, I love everyone for all their beliefs.
Right.
The only people that come against me they're saying they're Christians are usually the ones that don't read the literature. And I've read the literature and can kind of call them on it, because
Right.
I'm like, like, this is not what you should be. You shouldn't be judging. And I'm not doing anything wrong. There's a lot of people lose the fundamentals very quickly, and it's sad.
For sure. And I and I would never ever claim to be a perfect follower. We all make mistakes or whatever. That's the whole point of it. Like, that's literally the point of it. You can't be perfect. That's the point of Christianity. And so for people who claim to follow Christ or whatever, to be so judgmental and it's so disappointing to me. Like, it literally hurts my heart to know that I'm being lumped in with people who are okay with taking children and putting them in cages because they don't live in this country. Like, that makes me physically ill.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like that. And it's almost like there needs to be some kind of separate name for it or something. It's so disturbing to me, and it's aggravating to me, because I don't know how you can claim to follow the same person and have completely different takes on it. Like, I understand the little intricacies of little differences, but such extreme differences, it's like, I question whether we're following the same spirit. My spirit wants to help people, though, and yours is saying it's okay to lock them in cages. That's all I'll say on the matter.
Right. Well, it gets into the using spiritualism, a religion, as a platform for an agenda.
Yes.
And that's where the misconception, like, you can't lump everyone into one category. Right. And I remember saying at the beginning of this that I wasn't going to get into religion. Whoops.
Yeah, but we're not doing it in a jerk way, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's a civil conversation, but
yeah, we're not being jerks about it.
Yeah,
I just don't get it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's again, it plateaus and it parallels with so many things of sort of an agenda used, or you can't say, so I knew one guy that liked the color green and he was a jerk, so I hate the color, right? In simple terms, that would be kind of my thing. So, like, yeah, I've never had hatred for any religion, and I hope everybody else too. Like, it's
right.
Let's just
That's how I feel too.
If we can all accept each other, as long as we're not committing crimes and
right.
I mean, there's
being
some
disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a way this can all work and we can all be happy. It's just,
Sure. And that's how it should be. Like, you know, I feel like with any philosophy or whatever, just don't be a dick. Like it really all just boils down to that. Stop being a dick about it. Like you can you can not like the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. I'm okay with that. Just don't be a dick about it. You
exactly.
can you can have your religious beliefs. Don't be a dick about somebody else's. Like it's not that complicated. It really isn't that complicated. So I don't that's why it like aggravates me because I don't understand the illogical thought process of some people. And it's especially frustrating to me when it's people close to me who I know are good people. So it confuses me why they have certain opinions. Like it's very aggravating to me. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm never going to figure that out. So
You
I
know,
try
and
really hard not to be a dick. I fail. Sometimes I'm a dick. I know that. But I try really hard not to be.
we're we're human.
Yeah.
As long as we're
Yeah.
not, as long as we're not trying to be assholes, you know.
Yeah, and I will apologize to somebody if I've done them wrong. I try to own it, but you know, we all fail, which is exactly the point of my religion in the first place.
Well, exactly.
If we could be perfect, we wouldn't need a sacrificial lamb, correct? That's the whole point of the whole thing. So, and hey, it's Good Friday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I guess maybe this was in the back. Actually, I really did see some really offensive stuff about Jesus today online, and I just had to
Oh, really?
walk on by because people are mean and they don't get it, so that's okay. But
You know, they do a really, well, not this year, but they do a really cool Easter parade down here.
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's in the French Quarter, and get this. This is what I'm saying. Like all religions and everything, embracing people of all walks of life, right?
Yeah,
So it's actually Chris Owens. I don't know if you're familiar with Chris Owens, um,
name's familiar.
but yeah, it's like it's basically like an LGBTQ parade,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
she's like the grand marshal of the parade, and it's cool because you know you'll see rainbow flags, and it's an Easter parade, but it's also embracing you know Easter and
Everybody. Yeah.
Christianity, Catholicism, and anybody else who wants to come. And it's a nice thing, you know. It's like it's a beautiful getting together of
Yeah.
everybody's, and the doors aren't shut, the doors are open. You know, like come love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's cool.
I dig it, man. It's you know, there's so much cool stuff. Like even before, you know, I kind of fell into my spiritualism. I went a long road of like going down things.
Yeah.
I was generally intrigued and fascinated and want to explore a lot of things. And like my parents were Irish Catholic, but they didn't baptize me, so I was kind of, you know, I decided to like figure out Catholicism on my own, and
Mm-hmm.
then you know, reading about Tao, Zen,
Mm-hmm.
read the Quran, and reading about Judaism and things. I just kind of went down, you know, because everything kind of fascinated me. Ancient Egypt, you know, spirituality
Mm-hmm.
really got me as a young kid, and fascinated by that. And you know, there's a big, beautiful world out there. People, you don't have to
And you don't have to be afraid of it.
exactly.
You don't have to believe in it, but you shouldn't be afraid of it. Like, I think some people are so narrow minded that they think that if they tiptoe into something else, it's going to lead them astray. Well, my
Yeah,
question would be, well, how strong is your faith to begin with if learning about something else is going to deter you from what you believe in? You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, that's crazy to me.
So a lot of people get the misconception with me too. They're like, "Well, so
Right.
you're putting pins in dolls and chopping off heads and of chickens and things." I'm like,
Right.
this is what Hollywood is don't doing. Like, there's
Sure.
no shit. My priestess, Sally Ann Glassman out there, by the way. If you want to get informed by some New Orleans voodoo, go check her out. Sally Ann Glassman, Voodoo Visions is her book. But anyway, she's a vegan, like she's a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
So, and absolutely, there's none of that. It's just
Right, right,
another
right.
misconception, but again, there's if everyone was kind of, you don't have to be completely interested like me, but it's fun to
Sure.
dabble around. Just kind of like, if you're scared about it, maybe you just, we got Google on our phones. Maybe just do a couple things. You
Right.
might not be
Right.
so terrified.
Well, and that's just it. Like, there's so much like let's say like anti-Muslim. People are so afraid of Muslims, and it's like, then do some research about it. Like reading about it's not gonna do anything to you. Like we're given brains for a reason. Like
Right.
instead
And,
of being this like fear of the unknown, maybe get out of your bubble a little bit and do some research, and then you're not going to be intimidated or scared by it anymore. It's such a narrow-minded, like weird. And it's the same thing. I mean, I guess because I grew up, like in a small town in the Midwest, everybody's kind of the same. It's like pretty homogenous. Everybody kind of blends into this, you were there. It blends into this, everybody's the same thing, and anybody that sticks out is ousted. But they're so afraid. It's like they hate everything that they don't know because they're not around it to realize that it's not a big deal, right? It's really
well,
easy to dislike people from another country because they're not around them. But if you were around them and you see that they're exactly like you're not going to hate them anymore. Like it seems completely logical to me that
yep,
you would come to that conclusion, but yet people don't seem to come to that conclusion. It's really weird.
I agree. And it's unfortunately something that's, throughout history. It's,
Sure.
whatever humanity does not understand, it destroys.
Yeah, it turns into an enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
it's
and that
sad.
includes each other, and that includes other species, and
Sure. Right,
we
exactly.
we've fucked up
Right.
this planet pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, even like something as silly as like you think about snakes or whatever, and there's people that like, I hate snakes, I hate snakes. Like, how do you hate them? Like, I can understand you not wanting to touch them or run into one when you're out walking in the woods or whatever, but to hate them, like,
Mhm.
I don't understand that mentality at all. It's such a weird
Yeah,
thing.
I guess maybe we're the weird ones out because I've always loved
Maybe.
I love snakes, and then I do have a tattoo of one, but uh, in my spirituality, they're revered as very very holy, and also passages of souls can come through snakes and stuff like that. But that's neither here or there. That's really ritual kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But I always loved snakes, even when I was a kid. Before that, and my first pet was a tarantula, and everyone hates spiders.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
it's
Like
kind
it's
of the
okay to be afraid of them.
yeah,
Like I don't want a rattlesnake in my house, okay? I don't want to see one when I'm walking or anything like that. But I don't hate them. Like it's a living being. It didn't choose to be a rattlesnake any more than I chose to be a human being. So why
hmm
why on earth would you hate like anything? It's so weird.
fear makes a lot of bad decisions. I think.
Yeah, true.
But again, it goes to
Yeah.
that understanding. Maybe if you knew more snakes, I mean, yeah,
Right.
there's certainly some snakes. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want something that's gonna like kill me to be
Right, exactly.
because some
I have
snakes,
a healthy respect for it. Stay away.
yeah, well, territorial, right? Like we're all
Right,
territorial
right.
species on this earth. So spiders are the same way, man. Like most spiders are completely more afraid of us than we are of them. But again,
Sure, of course.
it's just the fear, and it's like the creep angle, and
Well, I think some of it is innate because snakes can kill us,
mhm,
spiders can kill us. So, like, I think some
mhm,
of that is like your natural instinct to survive,
yeah,
and you can be scared of snakes all day long. I'm not like the biggest, like, I don't want to pick them up and all that kind of stuff, but I don't hate them.
right.
That's the thing that gets me is when people like, I hate them. Like, why are you hating an animal? It's so weird to me. Like, you
I
can
think
not want to be around it, fine, but like to hate it, that's really weird.
I think people
Very
throw
weird.
For sure. I think people throw the word hate around too loosely these days.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
I hate McDonald's. So like, really, do you hate it? Like, you just choose not to go
Like
there.
fiery burning hatred.
Yeah, exactly. Like it eats you up at the end of the day.
Yeah,
That
like that's all you can think about is like revenge on McDonald's. Like what? Yeah, I know. By the way, I love McDonald's and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Whatever.
I hate the Big Mac. Oh, you know what? Funny about McDonald's. I was just you. I don't know how long we're supposed to go for, but I'm rambling. But
I don't know. We've been sticking usually around 2 hours, but whatever. We're close to wrapping it up here. But let's
okay.
keep going.
Let me do this anecdote about McDonald's. So, as a kid, like McDonald's was like the dream.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my
It's my
god, we're going
comfort
to
thing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we're getting McDonald's tonight.
How funny.
Like the Eddie Murphy bit, but like they used to have. Do they have them in Ohio? The Ronald McDonald Land. Do you remember those?
We didn't have any around us, but I think there was some out by Warren and Youngstown area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
It
I'll
was like
wrap
a
this up.
playground, right? Like there was a playground. They had like stuff to play on, correct? That's
Yeah,
what Ronald
it was.
McDonald Land was.
They had a so you would get your food at the McDonald's restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and then for ours, because it like went up a hill, they had this like little kid train. So you'd sit on the train. It was
Oh
like a
wow.
motorized train. Then you go to the playground. So they had like what do you call them? It was like a swing set that was a Hamburglar, and then it was like Grimace had like a bouncy thing with like metal
Yeah,
bars.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Totally unsafe by today's.
Right,
Like I'm
right.
sure dozens of kids got their heads busted on this thing, and like Mayor McCheese had a thing, all this stuff, and it was so
Yeah.
surreal. You get to like do the teeter totter thing on these little hamburger chicken nuggets. Anyway, I remember that being the coolest thing as a kid.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, I'm like, I should have had tetanus shots when I was a kid.
Yeah. That's funny though. I know. And it's funny how that stuff gets ingrained into your like mental thing because even to this day, like if I don't feel good, like if I'm having kind of nausea or whatever, the only thing that'll sound good to me to eat is a fillet of fish from
Oh yeah.
McDonald's. Because at some point in my life, probably when I didn't feel good, my mom got that for me or something. And so it's like this weird comfort thing. Like if I'm feeling super stressed out or whatever, I'm like, let's just get McDonald's for dinner or whatever. It's not good food. It doesn't
Well,
taste.
yeah, but it's
Yeah, I mean,
comfort.
it's garbage, but it's like having Pop Tarts or whatever. It's like, it's not like food that's tasty. I mean, if you're gonna pick like a hamburger for taste, you wouldn't pick a McDonald's hamburger. You would pick like Gordon Ramsay or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, no, I get it though. Like, because I cook, but like sometimes I just want
garbage.
like McDonald's fries,
Taco
and
Bell.
yeah, I will totally do that. Like,
Yeah.
it's late at night. I'm going through Taco Bell, and I'm getting fire sauce and Diablo sauce, and I don't care what I get because it's going to taste good.
Yeah.
Or like the other day, or not the other day, maybe like last month, I was thinking about those comfort foods, like you said, because like my mom would sometimes, I'd be like, got to rent a VHS, right? So I'd rent like a horror movie or something as a kid,
Mhm.
and then like here's a pack of Hot Pockets, like thief. So I was
Yes.
like, I'm gonna get some Hot Pockets. So I got like the ham,
Yeah. It was
and I
like a
had had
whole evening.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
it was awesome.
and they're not good by any means. Like they're not as good as you remember them being,
No, they're not.
but I wanted that comfort and nostalgia because I'm like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, we kind of still do that now. Like, usually, like, well, not so much Friday nights anymore because I started doing this podcast, but like, it would always be like we would get something for dinner and then pick some movie to watch. That was always our thing. And we sort of moved it to Saturday, which we ended up we would do it Friday and Saturday. But now it's mostly just, we don't get to watch anything on Friday nights because I'm doing this, but it's like it's a comfort sort of ritual thing. And I'm sure
mhm.
when Dirk grows up, he'll have fond memories of, you know, this whole thing of getting pizza and watching Justice League or whatever, King
Oh,
Kong versus Godzilla, and you know, I think that
they're gonna
stuff's
love
important.
they're gonna love that movie. By the way, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they're already done. They already watched it. And I've seen them come and go.
Oh,
So we have been on here a while. But yeah,
I'm
I
having
don't know.
fun.
I like those sort of comfort rituals, and I feel sorry for people who don't let themselves have those things.
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
It's. I mean, it could be whatever, but yeah, just I don't know. There's
Sure.
something like gosh, I was even. I mean, God, I'm such a nerd. Like we're talking about the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I was about to go on Amazon the other day and just buy the dice and
Hmm.
stuff, just just to have it. Like
Yeah.
I don't have anyone to play Dungeons and Dragons with around here, and let
Right.
alone like I'm not about to go to someone's house and stuff.
Sure.
With COVID, but I was just like, I just want the the things like it's like having a book
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
or like a vinyl, like the physical vinyl. Like you can listen to that stuff online, but it's just the comfort of like having that old stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, something great about that.
Well, I have some friends that play Dungeons and Dragons online. If you ever want to hook up with some people to play Dungeons and Dragons,
Oh yeah, let me know. I
I
mean,
will.
I kind of suck, so maybe it might not be a good
Yeah,
recommendation.
but they're super. No, they're super nice, so they won't be mean to you. I promise.
All right, I dig it.
They're girls. They're nice.
I was trying to find the board games too. That's like my other thing.
Hmm.
Uh, there was a Dark Shadows board game once upon a time,
Oh man.
and I've been like searching on eBay for it, but I can't find it. But I'm sure it's probably like way out of my price range. But I really want to see what it's like.
Yeah, who was it? I think my friend Tim, who does the Strange Familiars podcast and writes a bunch of books about Bigfoot and stuff. He got the Bigfoot board game.
Oh wow,
That would be cool, right? That'd be fun to sit down and play the
I would love
Bigfoot
that.
board game. Yeah, yeah, that
I
would
would
be
say
fun.
if you're into the idea of Dungeons and Dragons, but not like going through all the crazy stuff,
Reading the book.
there was yeah. Well, there's like multiple, but I mean it goes on forever.
Yeah,
But like,
right.
there's this old game. I think they're. I just went on the site. Milton Bradley is supposed to be redoing it. This game I had as my youth called Heroes Quest, and it's basically Dungeons and Dragons, but on a board game.
Oh.
But there's like these three. It's hard to describe without it sounding lame. But there's like these 3D pieces. So like if you go through a room, like you put down this 3D piece of a door, and then they have these like 3D pieces of cabinets and treasure chests. So it's like you're looking at this like
Hmm.
cool little toy, but it's like a Dungeons and Dragons quest basically.
Oh. Interesting.
It does sound lame, but it's actually really fun. I was like, God, when that comes out, I was like, I want to get that. And like,
Yeah, Dirk might have fun doing that.
yeah, it's it's neat.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm lame. I think I'm a lame mom. Like we don't play any board games or anything like that. Our thing is just kind of like me and Dirk, but pre-COVID. Our thing was like we would run around every Saturday. We would go see the cats at PetSmart. Then we would
Oh
go
yeah.
shopping. Like he's my shopping buddy. We would just run around in different stores, and we like to look at stuff, like to go to Goodwill and that kind of
Oh,
stuff. Like I don't play games. I'm a bad player. Like I'm bad at playing. I feel
what?
bad
So
about that because he'll always be like, "Want to play this?" And I'm just like, "No." I'm really boring. Like I'm super boring. But I'll cuddle on the couch and watch movies with you and cartoons and all that stuff all day, every day, and run all over town looking at crystal shops and Goodwill and going to Target and whatever. But I'm bored. Like if it comes to playing, no, I'm not good at that.
I miss going to thrift shops.
I
That's like
know.
one of my
That's my
favorite.
thing. I love it. So yeah, that sucked really bad. Like I love going to Goodwill. It's so fun to me. It's just what are you gonna find, you know?
Oh, that's like the thrill of the hunt. It's like
Yeah.
I got so
Yeah.
happy when I find something I like. I'm like,
I know, like you won some prize. By the
yeah.
way, so you're in New Orleans.
Mhm.
Have you been to Boutique du Vampire? Do you know about that?
That sounds familiar.
I think it's on
Like,
St. Anne.
okay. Yeah.
It's a
So,
vampire gift shop, okay?
oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they
Okay.
have a cafe now
Yeah.
right next door to it. So they carry my books there.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super exciting. Like I mean, I can only say so much. But yeah, they carry my books there, and I'm friends with the people that run that store. Sometime you should stop in and say hi to them. That would be
Yeah.
cool.
That's been on my, I just saw a thing that they're open for the cafe. There used to be a vampire boutique in the French Quarter. I thought that was maybe the same people, but I
Mm,
guess not.
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
your area, so I don't know if it is or not. But it's
Yeah.
right beside that cafe,
Yeah.
and
Um,
we're probably going to come down there once it's safe to come down there because I want to do like a book signing thing there.
oh, we should do
Because I've
tell me.
never done one before, and I think that that would be the perfect place to come do that. And then we might like play a couple like little acoustic songs or something while we're there. But that's kind of the rough goal. Not obviously nothing's written in stone. We don't know when any of this is coming to an end or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's what we want to do. Like because we played New Orleans one time, some club called the Angel. I don't know if you know that place, but I think it closed down shortly after we left. But
Yeah.
so we
They did.
don't really like our experience in New Orleans was we were stuck in this nasty club where literally you could hear rats crawling in the walls right behind us, and they're like, unless you have a weapon, like unless you're carrying a gun, don't leave the club. Like this is what they told us. So we sat in this tiny room backstage listening to rats crawling in the walls. That was our exposure to New Orleans. We didn't get to do anything because we were on tour. So we sat in the club all night, played our show, went to the next town. So we didn't get to see anything. We didn't get to go anywhere. And so I have become friends with the people that run this boutique. And so I'm like, oh, that would be fun. That like, we could take Dirk down there and we could, actually get to see the city. So that's kind of a rough goal in the future.
Oh yeah, please let me know, man. I'll
Fun,
promote
right?
that. I'll promote the hell out of that for you. I
Cool.
That sounds like an awful first experience too. So like,
I
uh,
know because I had this like and it smelled like puke. So I'm like,
ugh.
everything smells like puke. I'm stuck in this club and they tell me it's so dangerous. Don't even walk outside unless I have a gun. So that was my experience in New Orleans. So I have this like negative connotation to it. Um,
Well,
yeah,
I
but
will
that was a
say,
weird night.
yeah. I don't know. I can't remember exactly where that club was located, but it's not that bad these days.
Yeah. I think
Every
we just were in a weird I mean, we were on tour.
yeah,
It was weird. But
yeah. I gotta check that place out because I've been seeing that on my. I keep saying I'm like I gotta go there, but I'm just kind of waiting to. But I see that they're
yeah.
open. But I think that might be maybe the place I'm thinking of that had a boutique. That was a vampire boutique. But irregardless, that sounds fun. That sounds so cool.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And tell Steven I said hi when you come in there.
For sure, I will.
Yeah, how fun. All right, my friend. We should probably stop talking.
Oh,
We've been talking for, let's see, what time is it? 9:35. So we've been talking for a while. But we can always do these again. But I try to
yeah.
keep them kind of around 2ish to 2:30ish
Okay.
range. But I will get this posted later tonight. DM me any links that you want me to put in the show notes or whatever. So anything
Oh,
you're
okay.
working on, anything you want me to promote for you, as soon as we hang up here, send me that email or send me in Facebook Messenger, and I'll put it in the description for the show. It's been lovely talking to you.
Thank you
We've
so
known each
much.
other for a long time.
Yeah, it has been a little while. I know we've
Yeah,
feels like talking to my friends. So
I
it's
know. I wasn't shy at all.
I think we got on some good stuff here. So
Yeah,
so
we talked about some great stuff, I think. Yeah.
I feel a little better about my anxiety now after this.
I do too. I had a bad day today. I really did. So
Me
yeah,
too. Me too.
yeah. And yeah, I've been feeling crappy all week. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This actually was so sweet. And again, you are awesome. Are we
You
still
are as
recording?
well.
And
We are. I can
can we
stop it though.
no, keep recording.
Okay.
So as I
Okay.
say, anybody listening, please buy this woman's books.
Oh my God.
They are awesome. I don't know if the Ionia record is sold out, the vinyl.
Not yet. It's not sold out yet. There's still some left.
Go buy that because that's one of the best albums in the freaking world. So you will
And
not regret
I
it.
can't wait to get it because it looks freaking beautiful.
I know I still got to order one. I'm just trying to spread the word.
Well, thank you because
But
I'm horrible at doing that.
oh, I'll promote the hell out of it, man.
Thank you. And we
But
got a
yeah,
new one coming out, a
oh yeah,
brand new album coming out. But I don't
and
think I'm allowed to tell details quite yet. But we've already posted the cover art for it. I posted a bunch of times today, and I don't think I'm allowed to tell any more details about it though.
well,
But
I'll be waiting in suspense. That sounds awesome.
yeah, but it is going to come out on vinyl.
Nice.
Yeah, exciting.
I love it.
And what do you got going on? What are you doing? What are you putting out?
I don't really have too much to promote per se. I wish I did. Everything going on. Check out cmradio.tv and check out my friend's website. That's the Patreon that I am part of. And he's a part of the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, but it's not all jazz stuff. He does all kind of experimental music and goodness. He does arts. He does
Cool.
uh, photography. He's in New Orleans, and it's a beautiful thing. And we're all there having fun. So we'd like you guys to join us. I do music on that Patreon site from time to time, and we all collaborate, and it's kind of fun. Let's see, there's this band. What is it? Shitload that my friend Bob did, and I did some like crazy noise spoken word. It's like power noise, punk
Cool.
shit. That's been fun. You can check out. Let's see, youtube.com/Ryan Mckern if you want to check out any of my music. It ranges from sort of dobro blues to industrial to classical to metal. It's all over the place. And yeah, I think that's it for now. I mean, just
Right
look.
on. Yeah, and send me those links to all that stuff because I'm not going to remember.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
and I'll put all of it in the description of the video. I wave my hands around a lot.
Oh, I'm totally about doing gestures.
Woohoo. All right, my friend. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for hanging out with me on a Friday night.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. We'll talk again soon.
Sounds great.
Bye.
Bye.